Hi guys, and welcome to Death Before Dishonour Season 3, Episode 3. One of the last chances these competitors are going to get to try and get into this season's finals. We had A Move Hacker winning the first episode of this season, and then Flying Tacos, who will see who is going to be joining them. So in round 1, we have the mighty Chosen One doing a return here. He will be a finalist in the Season 2 finale when we finally get around to doing that. And he's up against Stormrunner. We are, of course, going to be opening up on Troll Country, moving to Altdorf Outskirts, and El and Gwil, if we do go that far. Then in round 2, we have Alaric Ra replacing King of the Dead, who unfortunately had to drop out, up against Papa Palpatine, which should be a very hotly contested affair. Playing on Tower of Hoeth, River Maxon, and Toothgrass Hill. Then we have a best of 5 finals, something we've implemented relatively recently, and it is going to be played on Pillar of Bone, Mirror Woods, Alpine Ridge, Karak, Ungor, and Kelp and Coldust. So let's have a little look at our competitors and see what they've decided to pick. So it looks like Chosen One, who was picking and banning first, went Skaven and banned Beastmen and Vampirates. Pretty decent bands in my opinion there, and Stormrunner is going for Tomb Kings. We're of course going to be playing on Troll Country, a very close and bloody affair, and should be some good fun. What's up, Raptor? Hope that you're doing all good, my friend. Quack quack indeed. Celeb, how's it going, bro? Thank you for potentially being a backup as well in case anyone has to drop out. We will certainly try and get you into the next, give you priority and get into the next one for being a very decent chap and becoming the backup for this one here. So the two competitors are just deciding their armies, and then we will get this thing underway pretty early on. Should be good fun. Do you have any favourites you want to see get into the finals? Anyone you want to see crushed? Any armies you particularly want to fancy having a little look at? I particularly want to see some Lizardmen action as much as possible, as they are of course my favourite faction. And it looks like Chosen One is ready, just waiting on the mighty Stormrunner now. I believe both of these guys have tried to qualify already in this season, but we will see if they can re-emerge victorious this time round. Warden! Yes! Fantastic to see you, dude. How is it going? It has been a very long time since I saw you in a chat. Hope you're doing all well, my friends. We are here for a Death Before Dishonour tournament. So those of you who don't know and are new to the channel, this is a weekly tournament. Well, mainly weekly is what I try and do, but my routine is a little bit all over the place because of work and so forth. It is a 4-man tournament with a best of 3 semi-finals and a best of 5 final. Once we have 4 different champions from 4 different streams, they will come together for a finale of this season as 4 champions battle it out for the honour of getting a personal high five from myself if I ever meet them, and the title of being that season's king and champion. I am playing in the 4-champion noob hammer best of 3 now, but I can back up after that. No worries, Celeb. I think luckily we do have all our players present at the moment, so we should be good, but thank you anyway. Papa Palpatine would love to see himself in the finals. Well, there's only one way to do that, my friend. You have to walk through, or try and battle your way through, Alaric Ra, and then one of these 2 competitors here. Looks like they are good to go, so we'll get started. Hopefully there's no problems in-game. I did a best of 3 earlier up against Ninja Ping then. Super fun games, but dropped out of the game like multiple times, but I think that was on his end, not mine. So we should, hopefully, fingers crossed, be all good. Raptor is back in your skills, Papa Palpatine, but good to see. No worries, Warden. Thanks for stopping in anyway. Don't worry, this will be uploaded, so you can just skip through and see all the battles as well, and ignore my kind of blabbering in between as well. But I certainly want to see Krokgar as well. So, Troll Country, one of my favourite maps, just because it is a big bloodbath in this death pit in the middle right here. But there's also some hilly terrain and also trees for sneaky stabbings and some pretty defensive deployment as well, if you don't want to kind of get rammed into this giant battle in the middle. But realistically, we want to see a huge bloodbath here. But with Skaven and Tomb Kings, it's probably going to be a lot more defensive in my opinion. Skaven bring a load of long-range tools, which are very good up against the Tomb Kings, and it looks like we have a few of those here today. So let's have a quick look through Chosen's build. We have the backbone of any good Skaven army in a Skaven slave force for a front line here. These dirty little rats are just here to soak up charges and take damage. He also has some clan rats mixed in with them, including the Regiment Renowned version, the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers, who not only have an incredibly badass name, but rats with flaming swords is incredibly cool overall. Those clan rats just give a little bit of added punch to a rather weak front line. Now it looks like we also have some more elite troops here. He's doing his best kind of dodgy deployment situation here. We have some Eshin Triads, including Ishka's Triads, Regiment Renowned version, who can make a duplicate of themselves, which is super useful for protecting that back line. So these guys are, of course, going to be stalked, so his opponent won't know they're there, and they'll be really useful defensively. We also have 3 units of Rat Ogres, really good at countering light cav and so forth, and helping protect the back line. We have the Teeth Breakers, Regiment Renowned Rattling Gunners, and the Natty Bobu Sharpshooters, Regiment Renowned Warplock Jezzails, going to be getting that long-range damage, one of the most annoying units in the game. So for leadership, we have an Assassin, and you've been used as a bodyguard here to protect Lord Skrog, who is incredibly squishy, but has so many deadly spells. So he has, of course, brought Rod of Corruption and the Liber Bobonicus, which do those huge amounts of damage. So overall, really nice, quite defensive build here by the Skaven. But at the same time, not overloading on too many ranged troops that he can't protect. So let's have a little look at Stormrunner and his Tomb King. So up front we have 2 units of Skeleton Horsemen Archers. Nice pick here to try and pick off any of those nasty long-range tools the Skaven will be bringing. For a front line we have Nekakar Warriors, these including the Regiment Renowned Tomb Guard as well. These guys should mow through Skaven infantry very, very fast. We also have some Ushopti, looks like 2 units in total. These guys are the combat variety. I've been seeing these guys a lot more recently. It's nice to see kind of this version of them. The Ushopti bows got a little bit old, and I don't think they're too good up against Skaven either. We also have a Screaming Skull Catapult, triple chevroned, which is going to get in some really fantastic work. I'm not sure how good the Natty Bobu Sharpshooters will be at sniping this guy, but he should manage to get a decent amount of value, and of course they are unbreakable. Well, they can lose leadership and, start to deteriorate, but they will stay and fire a lot longer than other artillery pieces. We have a Tomb Prince working in much the same way as the Assassin, as a bodyguard here for Arkan the Black, who, of course, is going to be bringing... Oh, let's try and get hold of him here. Bringing a load of nasty spells. He's brought the Tomb Blade himself, Star from the Gash. We also have a Purple Sun and a Spirit Leech. So overall, a really fun build. On either flank, we have some Nekakar Horsemen as well to try and swoop around the flanks, and then 3 carrying in the back to try and shut down long-range troops. So definitely expecting some long-range artillery pain coming in from the Skaven. So it looks like Stormrunner is ready. They're both ready, saying good luck, have fun. Always good to see some good sportsmanship where possible. Have a quick little look at chat. Nice to see some more people join. Dave the White Lizard, how's it going, dude? Hope you're all good today. And fingers crossed we're going to see some Lizardman action as well, just for you. It's going to be a really interesting deployment here from the Skaven. Lots of layering of troops and particularly protecting this high ground on the right-hand flank. A little bit more stretched on the left. But once again, I quite like not just going for a full flat front line. Here's the layers to protect his ranged troops and Clan Rat with spears on the flanks to stop any light cav. Who is your prediction on now? You have seen the armies. I think it's fairly well balanced. Either one could win. This balanced power actually slightly favours the Skaven from the off, however. Natty Bobu Sharpshooters are immediately being spotted here, so Stormrunner knows what he's up against. His guys are going to be moving up as well. Did see their attack order there. They're probably going to go after that Screaming Skull Catapult there. So Skeleton Horseman Archers trying to find a way in, but because there's so many layers, they are going to get forced back quite quickly here. Teeth Breakers also popping a concealment bomb, so they can't be shot. As we can see, Screaming Skull Catapult is the target of the Natty Bobu Sharpshooters, but it, in retaliation, comes in and does some okay damage against Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers. Nothing too powerful just yet, but consistent fire will do a decent job. Over in the distance here, we have Skeleton Horseman Archers being forced out by Skaven Slaves. Really not where they want to be. Really nice play here by Chosen One, keeping those guys at arm's reach. But I wonder if he has managed to spot these carrying yet, who are going to be swooping in. In fact, one unit has already popped it in on top of the Natty Bobu Sharpshooters, just trying to shut them down and allow that Skull Catapult to get some value before it is disintegrated. Of course, as you can see, Rat Ogre's swinging in to shut those guys down relatively quickly. Catapult is up to 45 kills so far, doing a decent job on top of Clan Vulcan, who are fairly expensive, at least for a Clan Rat unit. And over on the side here as well, Skeleton Horseman Archers should probably charge into combat to try and break these Skaven Slaves and force them off rather than wasting ammunition here. Another unit of Karen hops into the back on top of the Teeth Breakers. They are slowly getting dragged down by Eshin Triads, but it looks like the Triads aren't fully coming in yet, so he may get some decent value nonetheless. Another unit has dropped in the back as well. Screaming Catapult, no going after the Natty Bobu Sharpshooters. Interesting choice here. Has done a decent amount of damage off the bat. Those guys are now focusing down Ark and the Black instead. As for the front line, the Kepler Guard here demolish some Skaven slaves as expected, so do Nekakar warriors. The slaves are here to die and just hold the line. Ishik Triads now moving up to support. We do have a summon of skeleton warriors in the back here as well, trying to help Ark and the Black, who's in a very tricky situation with Ratogers beating the crap out of him here. He really needs to fall back to some of friendly troops. Clan Rats have managed to swing around, however. Backline has now been secured by the Tomb Kings. The Tomb Prince trying his best to hop into the back and assassinate Skrulk, but he does have an Assassin's Trophy popped on him, and the Assassin is going to absolute town dismantling this guy. So Teethbreaker's getting some decent value shooting into Ark and the Black, who really needs to fall back here. Is this going to be a huge purple sun, though? But it is only on Clan Rats, but still, it's going to do some huge damage here in this massive blob fight. Is even spinning over into the rest of these poor Ishin Triads as well. Perfect value there coming in. Does get a bit of friendly fire on the Kep Guards, however. Poor Tomb Prince being obliterated from all sides here. These Nekakar horsemen need to get into the action and start shutting down some of these ranged troops and cycle charging in the rear. There's just too many rats for the elite front line to win by themselves. More Nekakar warriors trying to run over here, but they don't have much anti-large to deal with the rat ogres. They should be able to swarm through and get on top of the Teethbreakers. In the main line here, Tomb Prince does have Rival High Talisman getting his melee attack down by 40. I'm afraid he is going to be forced off and killed here, but Ark and the Black did manage to survive, luckily, and the Screaming Skull Catapult is still active and getting a decent amount of shots in. Natty Bobu Sharpshooters are probably going to be trying to finish off Arkan. He should really just fall back to the trees and keep himself alive, but at the same time, the Tomb Kings are starting to falter here just a little bit. Really nice attack coming down here as well, but Skaven doing some decent damage overall. Natty Bobu Sharpshooters have been forced off, so you can pop on them with these Karen here and get them away. These Nekakar horsemen need to get into the action now, as the kind of main Tomb King assault is starting to falter quite heavily. Skeleton Horseman Archers as well have spent all game shooting, but it hasn't been getting the best targets. Some nice rear attacks finally into Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers. The main fight, however, is up on top of this hill. Eshin Triad's going to be able to drag down your Shopsy very, very comfortably, especially with the help of some Rat Ogres. And a relatively healthy Lord Skrulk as well really help drag down at these Nekakar warriors here on the hill. Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers also running up, getting some decent rear attacks on these poor beleaguered spearmen right here. Not spearmen, sorry, but skeletons. Over in the distance, it looks like Nekakar Horsemen still not active just yet, but army losses do set in, and the Tomb Kings do falter. Not a bad attempt at all by Stormrunner there, but couldn't quite break into that back line quick enough, and even when he didn't have anywhere near enough anti-large to deal with the sheer amount of rat ogres that came charging into him. Really nice play though, 77 kills with the Screaming Skull Catapult, still getting some decent value, even though it took some big shots early on by Natty Bobu Sharpshooters. Ark and the Black, 191 kills, a lot of them down to that purple sun, but getting stuck early on and taking so much damage really did put him in a disadvantage and onto the back foot, but GG to both the players there. The next map is going to be Outdorf Outskirts. Let's update the scoreboard quickly. So Chosen One is up 1-0. Of course, this is a best-of-3 semi-final. The finals will, of course, be best-of-5. So after this matchup, we have Alaric Rahl up against Papa Palpatine. So it is Stormrunners. Would help if the magic didn't nuke my own men. It got a ton of kills, though, as well. It still did really decent damage all round. Probably worth the trade, I think, in my personal opinion. Stormrunner to pick and ban 2. So we have switched it, instead of being a pick 1 ban 1, we do now a pick 1 ban 2, just to make it a bit more balanced. It is slightly harder for newer players. You know, you may get 2 of your factions, if you only knew 2 factions, banned, which can be a big disadvantage, but at the same time it was allowing a lot of kind of counter builds and so forth. So let's say hello to everyone in chat. Nice to see you all. How's it going? Hope you're all doing great. I've got to go now. Blood for the Blood God! Yes, indeed. Normally Shopsy are really solid. They are. I just don't see them that often at all. But in recent weeks, they've certainly been making a comeback. So hopefully we will see more of them in the future. What's up, Ronan? Hope you're doing good, my friend. Certainly need to get you in one of these Death Before Dishonours relatively soon. So Stormrunner is going Empire banning dwarfs and beastmen. Chosen one going lizardmen. Yes, dino boys are coming into action, which is perfect, and this may be a decent map for it. Going mass skinks can be very powerful in this type of build, as you've got to be a bit careful with your big dinosaurs. Demigrifts of halberds can be a massive pain, plus the sheer amount of gunpowder they bring, huge armor piercing ranged cannons and so forth. It can be a struggle, so I think going a mixture of Saurus warriors and skinks, maybe some salamanders in there as well to help deal with someone like Karl Franz, and the cavalry can work really well. Cold One Spear Riders I really like in this matchup as well. Should be pretty interesting. Hope you guys are doing all good though. I've had a pretty chill day, apart from my living room roof having to be completely ripped out, which is good fun. So we have a giant hole in my living room right now. There's a leak up there, and it's been going on for months, but it is finally slowly starting to get sorted, which is all good. Also, very good news, I finished my first draft of a novel or novella I'm writing, which is super exciting. But now I have the painful job of editing everything. But still, pretty good day overall. Gladly, Ice Ronin, I will let you know when the next one is. This is number 3 of Season 3, so we have one more qualifier after this, and I'm contemplating opening it up to unlimited entries, pin it up on somewhere like Challenge, and then just casting live the semi-finals and finals, much in the same way as Turin's ECL works, but that does require people to be available for large portions of the day, and I normally cast during the week, so I'm a bit hit and miss about it, but I may do it once a season, maybe for the final game, the final event of the season, just to try and get as many people in as possible. Stormrunner is ready, so it looks like he had a build in mind already when it comes to this matchup, and I see a lot of people choosing Empire into Lizardmen, but I think it is a very, very even matchup nowadays. Looks like Chosen One is ready as well, so just wait for Stormrunner to click in. There he goes. And we will get the battle in underway. This matchup is called Who Can Spam the Most Cav? Yes. That can work incredibly well. I'd like to see a full Rohirrim build. I actually brought a full High Elf Rohirrim build the other day, with a Star Dragon as well, which of course Rohan didn't have, but it's fantasy, it's allowed. And it can work fairly effectively. Depends, of course, what you come up against. Outdorf Outskirts, a map I've been using quite a lot recently in tournaments. Of course, the Empire fighting for their homeland here, very bravely deciding to come outside of the walls and take the Lizardmen head on. There is a lot of trees, especially on this right-hand flank, and you can do lots of sneaky stabbings. Now, the rolling terrain can be a big problem for artillery pieces and ranged troops in general. As you can see down this road on either flank, it is slightly raised, and there's a few hills dotted around as well, which can really mess up your line of sight. In these dips, you can often hide small units like skinks and so forth, and if anyone's trying to shoot, the bullets will just sail over top of their heads. But let's see if Palpatine can bring this back and take it to a 3-game series, or Chosen One book an early slot into this today's finals. So let's have a look at his front line. We have some skink cohorts with javelins, Saurus warriors, red-crested skinks. Oh, looks like he's going to be moving all his troops back. So a very mixed front line overall, mixture of skinks and Saurus. We have the cohort of Sotek as well, regiment of renowned red-crested skinks who can refuse to die. They will still take HP damage, but won't lose any models for a limited amount of time. And we have a ton of skink cohorts with javelins. I really like this pick, as skink cohorts do decent up against state troops as it is, but at the same time, those javelins do really decent against lightly armoured troops. In the front, we have a couple of units of chameleon skinks, probably the most annoying skirmish unit in the entire game. They poison you, they're quite quick, they have missile resistance, it's an all-round pain in the butt. But of course, I love them as I love lizardmen. We also have a large cav contingent. Over on the left flank, we have some Cold One riders, and in the centre here, 2 units of Horned Ones. Really cool to see these guys in action. You don't often see Horned Ones. They're very expensive for a unit which does rampage, but with Cold Blooded being changed quite a long time ago, they are a little bit more viable, so it should be interesting. We have a Saurus Old Blood as well, so going pretty cheap and cheerful. He is going to be up on top of the Cold One himself. Bring in Horn of Kygor and Amulet of Itzel. For that damage resistance, you'll often see these 2 items picked. They are very, very good. We have a Feral Basildon. Unfortunately, no Ark of Sotek, but still cheap, cheerful, and packs a punch. And we have a Skink Priest of Beasts coming in with that Manticore Summon. So I have a quick look at the Empire build. Up front, we have a couple of Huntsmen. Very nice pick here. Going to do a lot of damage to the Cav and big dinosaurs. We have Marcus Wolfheart with them as well. The ultimate sniper character. Going to do coming in there with some nets and decent long-range damage. Cheap and cheerful spearmen to hold the line and allow the rest of the army to really pack a punch. Then we have 2 units of handgunners in the back. Basic swordsman. Is there any more kind of dotted around anywhere else? No, just 1 unit of basic swordsman to protect as well. Hammer of the Witches. And wait, there's 2 units of swordsman. Cool. 2 units of swordsman in the back for an extra bit of protection. The Royal Outdoor of Griffites. Sorry, I can't speak today. The Royal Outdoor of Griffites. There we go. Demigriff Knight Regiment of Renown. And another unit of the Halberds as well. They're going to be rolling dirty with a Warrior Priest. That's a really nice combo. Going to be buffing these guys up. Should be able to do very decent work up against Cold Ones. Without further ado, the battle is going to get underway. Now, are these trees really going to heavily affect the Hammer of Witches there? You can't see too much, but it looks like they're going for the shots. And boom, it does sail just high, but still not a bad attempt. Looks like 1 unit of Cold One Spear Riders has been forgotten here by Chosen One, but I'm sure he will remember them relatively soon. Chameleon Skinks trying to push up and get close, and poor Gary here, taking a cannonball to the face. What did he ever do to you, evil Empire? The rest of these troops can be using the forest on the right to push up and engage, but little do they know that there's some demigriffs awaiting them. Looks like Chameleon Skinks are trying to push through here, though, to get a little bit of a scout maneuverability coming on, seeing if they can spy any troops awaiting them. He's probably had a little look at this Empire army and kind of calculated the points in his head and realised that's probably not all of them. They can do some great work up against the Huntsmen, though, but they're, of course, stalked as well, so neither opponents can see each other's scouts just about yet. Looks like those Cold One Spear Riders were remembered, so they've been pushed up now. Some early shots coming in at the Skink cohort, but not a unit you particularly want to be shooting, and it has revealed their position. But still, damage is damage, and a cannon shot clipping the Skink Priest of Beasts as well. That Manticore Summon going to be really key to shutting that guy down, and possibly hunting down Marcus as well, who's trying to hit the Skink Priest of Heavens, who I missed earlier, who has Wind Blast, a very powerful effect against tightly packed troops. Lots of javelins coming in on Huntsman now, which is a pretty nice counter to get some decent damage. The frontline engagement is just about to get underway. Cold One Riders are moving up through the front. Nice Wind Blast as well, nuking those spearmen down to just about half health as the cohort do gloriously charge in, leaping into battle, swinging their giant maces over top of their head. And in come the Cold Ones to start feasting as well. Huntsmen being flung back in the distance. Looks like the Demigriffs are actually running to run down some Skink cohorts. And the Cold Ones are going to go in for this fight, so Horned Ones are charging into the fray here. Interesting choice. They're going to need a lot of help to win up against the much more powerful Royal Outdoor Griffites. But still, nice charge bonus popping in. Saurus Warriors are there to assist as well. Chameleons getting that poison damage in too. Over on the left-hand flank, Skink cohort throwing their javelins over, and the backline has been pretty badly harassed here. The Empire are starting to crumble a little bit. Skink Priest being used in combat to shut down some handgunners. We also have Cold One Riders getting into the fray as well, and the Hammer of Witches is already shut down early on. Gary going a little bit crazy here in the centre. Doing some decent work though to Huntsman, and a nice Wind Blast coming down on Swordsman, who do have Shield of Faith activated, and the Empire really need to win this pocket right here with a decent amount of health left as well. Warrior Priest buffing the Demigriff Knights, Hammer of Sigma, Shield of Fate active, and the Horned Ones are getting the crap beat out of them in one flank. The other unit though is going to manage to escape fairly unscathed. It looks like the Lizardmen are going to pull out here. And poor Gary on the other hand, he has no chance. He is balls deep, and he's going to get dragged down pretty damn quickly. For the main battle line, though, it looks like the Lizardmen are fairly victorious. Where are the rest of their Saurus Warriors, though? Looks like they are starting to move over to this flank here. And these Empire troops now have a good chance to rally. Red Crested Skinks, though, will beat up Spearmen relatively comfortably. Horned Ones now coming charging in into the Spearmen, trying to break them and do decent damage to the Royal Outdoor Griffites. Saurus Oldblood obviously did pop the Horn of Kygor as they charged in as well, making the fight at least a little bit more even. In comes the Feral Manticore, but he's not been used yet to hunt down Marcus, who does come in with a huge net here, allowing the Huntsmen in the trees who have rallied to get some really nice long-range anti-large damage in. Chameleon Skinks, though, and Skink cohorts with javelins are throwing in a lot as well, doing some decent damage all around and poisoning the poor Royal Outdoor Griffites. Feral Manticore will be disappearing fairly soon. Marcus just slowly being clubbed by cohort of Sotek. They're such a sticky unit with their unbreakability, although some brave swordsmen have managed to block their path and try and help Marcus rally. War Priest going to be falling back with the Demigriff Knights, and they have done a huge amount of damage to the Lizardmen, but at the same time, everywhere else on the battlefield, the Lizardmen are winning. Skink Cohort being used really effectively here to tie up 2 units, a unit of handgunners and huntsmen, and at least keep them away from the battlefield. Although it does look like a War Priest is going to go say something about that. The main fight is really being lost or won here. As we can see, the Raw Outdoor Gryphites are being dragged down. There is no wizard to heal them. And those guys are currently running for the hills as Horned Ones do charge after charge into them, really punching above their weight up against these Demigryphs. Ferbristildon, keep fighting bro, down to 500 health, up against a Warrior pretty slow and some Demigryphs. He's really going to struggle. Marcus trying his best to snipe, but he's such a squishy fellow as well. We have some Lizardmen who have rallied who need to get pushed back up into the main fight, but I think Balanced Power is going to push us over to army losses as handgunners are forced off. The Skink Cohorts are now free to hop on top of these huntsmen who have so much ammunition left, but just don't have any opportunities to use it. The last Royal Altdorf Gryphite is going to be fleeing from the field to tell the tale that you do not mess with the Lizardmen. Warrior Priest still popping all his buffs, trying to keep everyone in action, but it looks like Demigryph Knights going to be pulled down here just by sheer number of Horned Ones and that Saurus Old Blood. Doing a decent fight though, and Nets may allow those guys to escape and come in with some effective cycle charging, but there's Lizardmen all over the field. We have Cold One Riders and Skink Cohorts chasing off 3 units over here in the trees. Looks like army losses has set in, and that's going to be a 2-0 for the very mighty Chosen One here. Very good indeed. So, Horned Ones, fantastic to see them used well, and they worked relatively well as a counter to the Outdorf Gryphites when combined with the support of some Skink Fire. Those chameleons poison the Outdorf Gryphites, lowering their stats, and the Old Blood come in as well, give that added punch, and the Horn as well. I think Stormrunner's army was also relatively decent, but he just did not have enough to protect the 5 ranged troops he had, and the cannon really didn't get the value in the end, unfortunately, but still a very good fight, and I quite like the idea of a Warrior Priest rolling around with the Altdorf Gryphites. GG. Chosen moves on to the finals. I'll have dinner before the finals, no worry. And we are going to be switching to the map Tower of Hoeth. So in the next round, we have the mighty Alaric Ral and Papa Palpatine. If you guys are watching, please do hop in when these guys do jump out. The password is 123, and the lobby is called Death Before Dishonour, I do believe. So let's switch over. There we go. Do I have Alaric Ral? I do. There we go. And Papa Palpatine. Looks like he's not on just yet. But I'll invite Alaric Ral regardless and have a little look at chat. Let's see what I have missed. I wouldn't do unlimited opponents, maybe add quarters unstreamed. 16 slots, yeah, I can give that a go. The problem is just trying to get the amount of people in, but I can just let as many as can want to turn up, and then I'll just cast the semi-finals and finals like usual. Park Map, how's it going, bro? Nice to see you. The one I lost. No, Ronan, you lost the job. No. I hope you're doing all good apart from that, bro. Yes, I love to see Horned Ones as well, man. Don't see them anywhere near enough as I would like to. But good to see you. Daniel, how's it going, bro? You have missed round 1 of this 4-man tournament. So round 1 was between Chosen One and Stormrunner, and Chosen One took it in a hotly contested 2-0. And up next we have Alaric Ral and Palpatine, and then we will have a best of 5 finals. Cool. We will let Alaric Ral know that it's his turn to pick and ban. I can come back and hang out with you guys and chat for a little while. Skaven won. Yes, you'll be very happy, Daniel. Chosen One is a very good Skaven player, represented hard, and managed to get a good victory with them. Well, that was Finn. Stormrunner, man, you did good, honestly. Chosen One is a very, very good opponent. Super tough guy. And I mean, he's in the finals of the season 2 as well, and he's there for a reason. So you did good. Put a good fight as well. I think at the end there you just had too many range units to protect with the 2 handgunners plus 2 huntsmen plus the cannon, which made it a little bit tricky and just ended up getting swarmed. But still, super fun overall. Anyone who is new to channel, I see we've got quite a lot of people watching. Hope you are enjoying the content so far. We do tournaments weekly, King of the Hills weekly, where anyone can enter. And you just play, basically. It's really cool. I do Total War content every single week. So if you want to get involved, I have a Discord in the description just down below. You can click there, and that's where you get information about when I do tournaments and so forth. And if you like this type of stuff, so feel free to subscribe. We're super close to 200 subs now. I believe we're on like 196 or something when the stream started. So smash that button. And also, if you like what you see, do consider hitting the like button. It really helps out the channel and just helps it get it viewed by more people. Alec Ral is going Norska and banning Wood Elves and Tomb Kings. Looks like Palpatine may be, in fact, be going Beastmen, which could be a very interesting matchup. Norskan's very good at taking down large beasts, which can be a struggle for the Beastmen, and at the same time they can bring a few themselves. So we'll see what they do. Tower of Hoeth is the map. Large open plain here on the kind of centre and left-hand flank. Then the right-hand side completely dominated by a large amount of woodland, which allows for some super sneaky stabbings. Oh, looks like Palpatine may in fact be going Empire, so Empire being represented once again here. Which should be good fun. So I'm just having a little quick read through. Don't forget your magic, kids. Yes, that can be a little bit of a problem for getting a mage. I've run it once or twice accidentally myself, but any new players out there, I highly recommend bringing a mage in every single matchup. Unless you're dwarves, of course, but then runesmiths are equally very good. What happens when we hit 200? I actually grow a limb when you hit 200 subs. So every 100 subs, I gain an extra limb, which allows me to cast a little bit better. So I might gain some extra fingers so I can move around the keyboard a bit quicker, maybe an extra arm, 2 mouths perhaps could be quite useful, but the Chaos Gods will bless me in some form or other, which is always nice. And of course, if you hit that like button, as always, a puppy will be born into the world. We've also branched out, and kittens are also born with every other thumbs up as well. So if you enjoy puppies and kittens and like to see them brought into the world, which I think makes the world a better place overall, you have the power in the palm of your hands. Cool, so we'll let these guys sort out their matchups. Can have a quick look at Discord, make sure we have no questions. Nope, looks like we're all good. Oh, did I change the scoreboard? I did not, did I? So that was 2-0 to chosen one there. Now we have Alaric Ral. Move him down to 2. And we'll have Papa P. And hop back into the game. Looks like Papa Palpatine is ready. Which is good to see. Just went on Alaric Ral. At 200 subs, oh, that's like... At 200 subs, we'll stream a 24-hour stream with only Austrian armies. That is 1,000 subs, that would have to happen. 200 subscriber special, that would probably definitely happen as well. I did that by 100... Oh, looks like this guy's ready to go. I did that at 100 subs. I believe I did kind of a Come At Me Bro series where anyone could come take me on out of the people who had subbed. So I'll probably do that again. It will probably... It depends when I hit the 200 subs, I suppose, realistically, but that will probably happen next week if I do hit that today. I'll do another Come At Me Bro and just kind of, have people come and challenge the duck. Have you guys seen the news in China? So there's a load of locusts, like several million of them, I think, heading towards China. So they've actually amassed, I think, 1,000 ducks. Maybe 100,000 ducks. A huge amount of my people, anyway, have been rallied to the defense of China, where they're been pushed to the border in preparation to defend the land up against locusts, which is pretty hilarious. So if you don't see me for a while, that's probably because I've been brought to the front lines. Anyway, let's have a little look at Alec Ral and his Norskan build. So for his main line, he's gone Marauder Berserkers. This is a really popular choice here, in my opinion. These guys do serious amount of work. We also have the regiment around Marauders as well. But Berserkers, the longer they fight, the more powerful they become. Very lightly armoured, though, so they're very susceptible to missile fire. Up against Empire, unless there's a lot of crossbowmen, they relatively should be, pretty okay. Although cav charges can be pretty dangerous as well. Looks like, though, he's going to be deploying them very wisely in the trees. For leadership, we have the mighty Wulfric the Wanderer up on top of his mighty Mammoth here. He, of course, is rocking Hunter of Champions, Fight or Die, and Seafang, which you kind of expect. His abilities are pretty damn good. We have Assailment, Sorcerer of Death coming in with Spirit Leech. And is that Doom and Darkness? No, it is Soul Blight, minus 30 armor and 30% weapon damage. Very nice overall. We have some armored skin wolves. Looks like 3 in total. One of them being the Maws of Savagery. Now, these guys have anti-large, which is particularly good. Regeneration, so they have good sustainability in battle as well. And a bonus versus large. I think they are probably one of my most picked units when I do play Nauticans myself. Big fan of those guys. We also have 2 units of Marauder Horsemen as well. Now, for the Empire, very wisely deploying here over on this flank, and I'll explain why in a minute. But, let's see. Oh, no, looks like those guys did teleport. So, in the front, we have a large amount of cav. We have Knights of the Blazing Sun, 2 of them here on this right-hand side. Then we have Pistoliers in the front. Up over, hiding inside the High Elf Fortress, cowering with the rest of the High Elves. We have another unit of... Oh, it's not letting me click on those guys. Outriders with grenade launchers, a unit I think is criminally underused quite often. And then a very small box here, 2 units of Spearmen, 1 gold chevron, 1 triple silver, and the Sigma Suns as well, regiment renowned unit, Unbreakable. We then have the Hammer of the Witches, a Light Wizard bringing Net of Amantok, and a Jade Wizard bringing Regrowth, Earthblood, and a Power Stone. More Knights of the Blazing Sun in the back here, and the mighty Karl Franz up on top of his mighty steed. So, when you want to go range, and you want to get great value out of this cannon, you know your opponent has a good chance of deploying these trees. So instead of facing them down the middle here, maybe trying to get the high ground, just deploy on the right-hand side. Both players have to go towards each other. They're going to come out in the open, and you can get some decent shots. That cannon will do fantastic work up against Wulfric, especially if he does get netted down by the Light Wizard. But he has to allow that to happen, and these Marauder Horsemen could be used to try and fend off the Pistoliers relatively effectively. Skin Wolves at the same time are rapid and will do decent work up against most of the Empire forces, but actually Knights of the Blazing Sun, brilliant pick here because they come in with fire damage, and of course Skin Wolves have that regeneration, so they're going to be extra susceptible to that damage. But my one worry of this Empire build is he needs to get his cav on top of these berserkers because they will run through this entire position. They will mulch that up in seconds when they finally do reach it. So he needs to get some good value from his cav. Looks like everyone's saying good luck and have fun, good sportsmanship, which is what I like to see. Of course, when players get on with each other really well and just, you know, play within the rules, and the nice people in general, you will always get invited back, and that's why we are Death Before Dishonour. Early skirmish coming in by the horsemen, but it looks like some Knights of Blazing Sun are going to here to push these guys away. Wulfric, though, trying to get in and rescue his homies. Probably going to just pop on top of these Pistoliers now and get some free attacks here. Running in and getting some really good work early on. Roller Horsemen collapsing in as well. Berserkers trying to get over here to shut down Knights of the Blazing Sun, and the rest of the cav is pushing forward and decimating these Skin Wolves on this flank here. If they do escape, though, they can regen, and they still have a decent amount of units with 12, so, you know, relatively fine there with healing. They also, looks like Knights of Blazing Sun, though, do get a Spirit Leech popped onto them. Over up here, though, much better for the Nauticans with the Horsemen popping on top of the Pistoliers, getting good damage all round. But they are having to flee now as more and more Knights of the Blazing Sun are being brought to the front of this battlefield. Wulfric looks like he was just eating a random dude who got out of position there, and the rest of the forces are trying to push forward. Skin Wolves, though, going toe-to-toe with the Knights of the Blazing Sun is not going to work out in their favour at all, as the Blazing Sun do destroy these Skin Wolves so quickly. Look how fast their health is going down here. Berserkers, though, are rallying to their aid, trying to pin in these Knights and drag them down where possible. Looks like the Hammer of the Witches up to 6 kills so far, probably been shooting into Skin Wolves for the most part. And the Outriders with grenade launchers are going to decimate Berserkers if they manage to get all their shots away. One more grenade popping in there overall. Do have another Horseman here trying to chase down some Pistoliers by the looks of it. And Knights of Blazing Sun are now starting to get dragged down by Marauder Berserkers. And this is the problem. He needs to be Psycho Charge on those guys. He cannot afford to get pinned in here at all. Seafang does come down. Looks like it didn't do too much damage though. Would have been better going up this way along the Sigma Suns. It might have been a misclick. That does happen quite often here. And a huge overcast net of Amantok here, pinning in all of these forces here from the Nauticans, plus an extended Earthblood healing up the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Both units, really nice play by Papa Palpatine here. and doing his best to drag this through for the Empire. Marauded Berserkers, though, are dragging down Knights of the Blazing Sun, but at the same time, Outriders can get in some decent shots. Friendly fire popping in as well, however, which is a little bit dangerous. Wolfric the Wanderer is still a massive threat here as well. Spearmen aren't going to do anything. Jade Wizard does get 100 champions on him, but manages to flee. And the Wolfric Wanderer will be able to tear up pretty much all of these forces solo here. Berserkers need to get active though, pop in here and help him chew through them a little bit faster. We do have 2 more units as well. Looks like they're moving over to try and chase some Knights of the Blazing Sun and push those guys away. Pistoliers getting some decent damage overall. Looks like they have a nice little kind of conclave round here, shooting into these poor Marauded Berserkers who are getting torn apart pretty badly. And this is such a close battle. It's such a weird build by the Empire. It's hard to tell if it's going well or not. Icehorn Marauders are slowly starting to drag down Knights of the Blazing Sun, especially with help from Marauded Berserkers here. And in the main fight, Berserkers will tear apart this formation. Hammer of the Witches, not sure if it actually managed to get its value. Wolf the Wanderer trying to leave these Spearmen in the dust, but some cycle charging here could be well worth it. Spearmen don't really have the AP to deal with something like a Mammoth. These Outriders, though, grenade launchers up to 46 kills, doing decent work, but we do have a Lord Death over in the distance here. It looks like these Skinwolves, I completely lost where he was. 3 units of Skinwolves managed to protect the Shaman Sorcerer and drag down Toddy here and pull him down to his knees. Poor little fellow down. Is that Karl Franz? I can't really tell from this picture there, but either way, massive misplay there coming in by Palpatine, who was doing so well. Needed to keep him over here and protecting the back line and rolling with Knights of the Blazing Sun. But without their protection, the rallying Skinwolves have healed up with regeneration, come in and go for that character snipe. If he was literally just left over here with the protection of the Knights of the Blazing Sun, those Skinwolves could do nothing against him. With that, a ton of the Empire forces are being pushed off here. Hammer of the Witches is rallying, but I don't think they're going to be able to get back to their artillery piece. And the Empire forces are slowly being dragged down here. Wolfric just chilling, having a little look at, like a proud father here, watching the Marauded Berserkers chew through the Sigma Suns with deadly efficiency there. Skinwolves going to be coming back to the fray now. These Knights of the Blazing Sun need to hop on them and try and even out the balance of power, which has started to swing in favour of Alric Ral and the Norskans. Shaman Sorcerer going to be moving over to the battlefield as well. And overall, I think the battle could be done here with... If he still had his Lord active, this could definitely be in his right to win. He then has a character who can do some decent cycle charging on Wolfric and try and break the very beat-up units of Norskans now, but without a leader, this is going to be really tough. Knights of the Blazing Sun can do some very effective cycle charging, but Marauded Berserkers are going to be there to help these Skinwolves saturate on top of them and bog down some of those Knights. Pistoliers doing some decent damage overall. Knights of the Blazing Sun trying to come in for a charge there, but their leadership is so low. A nice Earthblood coming down on the Knights of the Blazing Sun, trying to keep their health up a little bit. These 2 wizards really holding the leadership core down here for the Empire forces. Triple Silver Chevron Spearman, though, holding the line up against this terrifying beast, Wolfric the Wanderer, who is slowly being dragged down, but it is quite a slow affair, unfortunately. We do have another Spirit Leech on these Knights as well, which is a big problem. Pistoliers getting some decent damage overall onto the Skinwolves, but they need to get out of there really quickly now. Skinwolves are very, very fast. They do, in fact, catch some of those Pistoliers, force them off, and I think army losses is going to set in a second. Healthy unit of Marauded Berserkers over on this left-hand flank has been forgotten, but I don't think it's going to matter too much here, as the armies do start to crumble. This other unit trying to get into an advantageous position to take on Skinwolves. One unit does charge in, but they are so low now. They charge in, do some okay damage, but immediately break. The other unit as well coming into their aid. Knights versus werewolves. What more could you want from a fantasy game? But unfortunately, this isn't the story of heroics here. The villains are going to win. The Skinwolves are dragging down the Knights of the Blazing Sun there. And with them gone, it even looks like a Jade Wizard has been caught by the Icehorn Marauders here. Wolfric running around, and Papa Palpatine does concede. I think if he didn't lose his Lord, though, he was in for a really good shout. I love the pick of the Knights of the Blazing Sun. I need to remember that to take it up against the Norskans. But eventually those Marauders managed to drag them down with maybe a bit more cycle charge than Knights of the Blazing Sun. Possibly could have managed to pull it through, but still very well played overall by both players there. So the next map is going to be, of course, River at Maxon. My favourite Total War map at the moment because it's competitive and a Lizardman map, which is a very rare thing indeed. Carl, losing Carl. It was Carl, I knew it. That was very bad for my part, yes. Yes, literally needed him for Wulfric. That is 100% true. Bringing him back and protecting him with the Knights of the Blazing Sun would have been much better, I think. So it is Papa P to pick and ban 2. So let's update the scoreboard. Alec Ral taking that first game 1-0 in this best of 3 series. Do you guys think Papa Palpatine can do a comeback here, or Alec Ral go up against Chosen One in this week's final? Let's see what you guys are talking about. Mortar Wagons for the win. I wish there were some Mortar Wagons in here. That would have been fantastic. Duckhead War. Yes, we do indeed. They have summoned the Duck Legions and cohorts to glorious battle. They will walk on red carpets to battle like true nobles indeed. Carl's not dead, he only rests. Oh, yeah, I'm sure he'll be back in future battles. Plot armor will protect him somehow. Yeah, as soon as he shot with the wolves, he let him fight. That is a problem. The wolves have really good mass, so they're a fantastic counter to big single entities, pinning them in place and slowly dragging them down. They're great in the grind fight as well. Very good counter to Cav, but the Knights of the Blazing Sun, really cool pick to counter those guys. So Palpatine is picking Beastmen and banning Lizardmen and Tomb Kings. You definitely do not want to be facing Lizardmen if you are Beastmen. We have Vampire Counts, though, in retaliation here. Should be a fun game. Counts bring a lot of fear and terror to the table. Of course, Beastmen don't have the highest leadership. They can also really struggle to take down big single entities like Terrorgeists, Vargulfs, and so forth. So, should be a fun game overall. I'm expecting Palpatine to probably go for the Manticore plus Cygor summon build. It's very powerful. Really helps you push that balance of power even if it looks like you're losing. Can actually push your opponent over to army losses, which is super effective. But yes, let's get some support for Palpatine. Try and channel good vibes and take this game to a free game series, which would also allow Chosen One to get some much needed rest and devour some food before his final. But welcome. See a few more people in here as well. Welcome to my channel. I'm a Rubber Duck of War. If you want to get involved in future tournaments, get a heads up when I'm releasing content and so forth. I do have a Discord with a mixture of kind of veteran and newer players, so there's really good discussions that go on there, and a lot of random crap talking as well, which I love. So feel free to join. There is a link down in the description below. If that link's not working, just hit me up on Discord. My name's a Rubber Duck of War on there, and I can send you a little invite. Oof, the counter pick indeed. I think this matchup quite heavily favours Vampire Counts, but we will see how it goes. I think a Vampire Counts kind of Death Star here would be disastrous to try and take on for the Beastmen. But at the same time, Cygors can do relatively okay with that. So it can work. Just going to very quickly check Discord, make sure we are all good. Yep, looks like we're all fine. And we wait for these guys to pick their builds. Hope you are watching Chosen One and sniping out your opponent. Have a little view. But will it be Alec Ral or Papa Palpatine? Of course, whoever wins today's stream will go up against Flying Taco, A Move Hacker, and one more player, possibly yourself, watching this. Whoever wins the final qualifier, I suppose, of Season 3. Big shout out to Zeus, by the way, for designing the thumbnail, which is a very cool thumbnail. Lizardmen and Skaven themed. He hopefully will be taking part in the final Death Before Dishonour qualifier, and he's going to be in Season 2 as well. We're a little bit late on that. We started Season 3 without doing it, but Season 2 finals are going to happen, hopefully next week. And that is between, off the top of my head, Zeus, Noob for Life, Chosen One, and Flying Taco. So a deadly collection of warriors there indeed. Ooh, what's this? Tomorrow I'll host a one-shot of D&D based on the Doom of Kazarak, the Skaven attack. Hell yeah! That's going to be very cool. I'm a big fan of D&D. I just don't really have anyone to really play, unfortunately. I did, before I moved to London, I had a group of people I used to play with now and again, but it was with one of my mates, a couple of his mates, and then his dad as well, with his friends, which is really interesting mix of people, as the game had been going on for 30 years or something. So they'd gone through several kind of different type of quests and so forth, and we were trying to currently get a load of orbs, which were used in some form of connection. That feel like the Palantirs from Lord of the Rings. But they're all protected by nasty monsters, and we needed to get them before someone else did. I can't remember exactly the story. It was a while ago now. But I came in basically as a brand new player. I hadn't played before. Super underpowered, of course, compared to everyone else. It was a little bit of a struggle, but it was good fun. It was very good fun indeed. I'm terrible at role-playing. Do you not tell your girlfriend that, Ronan? There is always time to practice. And I'm sure there's loads of good advice on the internet, like Park Map says. Looks like Alric Ral is ready indeed, and so is Palpatine. So let's wait for him to ready up, and let's go. So we're going to have a very early finals here, or is Palpatine going to manage to move this to a 3-game series? River at Maxon, super fun map. Doesn't actually have a river on it, which bit odd considering it's called River at Maxon. I think there's a dried up river kind of over to the right hand side, but it's a really cool map overall. There's these two big clumps of trees, one in either person's deployment and a little bit in the middle as well. Allows you to move up if your opponent has a lot of shooting, you have a lot of units you want to protect. Over on this right hand flank there is 2 hills with a nice entry point in the middle as well for lots of nice flank work, and over on the right hand side there is some trees on the periphery all the way around as well. Allows some sneaky stabbings. So let's have a little look through Alric Ral's build as he currently is ahead 1-0. So we have the most OP unit next to peasants, the mighty zombies. These guys will just stand there and die pretty much, but that is their job, soaking up charges and missile fire. We have some skeleton warriors mixed into the front line as well. Looks like that goes all the way along. So pretty cheap and cheerful front line, but they are going to be backed up by crypt horrors. So we have 2 units here. Is there one more hiding in the trees? No, it looks like we just have the 2 units overall. Going to be added some much needed punch to that front line. In the back here, we do have Blood Knights, Black Knights, Black Knights, and Blood Knights. So very heavy on the cav here. I feel like going cav heavy up against Beastmen is always a good sign. However, Razor Gores and so forth can pin you in. Minotaurs can slowly drag you down as well. We also have a Mortis engine, going to be giving those constant buffs and debuffs, but it does have to be in combat to give the debuffs. Going to be rolling dirty, probably saturating on top of these skeleton warriors here. So overall, really fun build, quite adaptable as well. Got cav, got infantry, got monsters, got a little bit of everything. Up in the skies, we do have a basic vampire lord on top of a very disgusting dragon here, which looks incredibly cool though. Look at that thing, that's pretty terrifying. He's bringing Raised Dead, Invocation of Mahek, and of course the Pestilent Breath of the Dragon. Overall, super fun build, and we'll see how that goes. Beastmen are hiding in the trees here. We have the Eye of Morslib, probably going to be throwing some rocks onto those Blood Knights, trying to drag them down where possible. We have Korok Man Rippers, Blackhorn Ravagers, regiment around Goreherd. Of course, the Korok Man Rippers do have that bonus versus large, as they have those nice halberds here. They look more like kind of giant cleavers, very cool weaponry. We also have some Bestigors, so a very cheap, well not cheap material, very elite but thin front line. But we have 2 giants as well. We need to be really careful not to get involved with the Blood Knights, but apart from that, we'll do fantastic. We have Sons of Gorus in the back as well, regiment around Centaurs with great weapons. We also have Bracion of Wild coming with those Cygor summons, Bracion of Beast coming with those Manticore summons, and Morga Shadowgate as well. Very cool kind of small Death Star build here. Interesting to see how it performs. I think the Blood Knights could be a huge problem, but if they can whittle them down with Cygors, that could make some good value. And it looks like the first rock instantly aiming for some of those Black Knights there, and taking down quite a few models, 6 kills already. So Beastmen definitely want to fight this in the trees by the looks of it, to try and limit the fighting power of all these knights. And a massive long-range throw coming in, doing some decent damage to those Blood Knights and killing 4 models off the bat. Looks like good. Just everyone's saying good luck, have fun, nice to see. The Giants will basically be able to stomp everything here, apart from the Blood Knights, and his Vampire Lord's going to be a bit tricky as well. So if he can isolate those guys, tear them down from long range with the Cygors, pin them in place hopefully as well with the Korok Man Rippers, you can see the Beastmen doing relatively well here in a matchup which normally does not favour them at all. Early Manticore Summon, I would probably have saved it for a bit more late game, but it can still be used to scare off the big dragon. Nice breath attack though coming on the Besticles, but it looks like some of it was caught on the trees. It didn't lose too much damage, but Feral Manticore is going in there. I probably would have summoned him a little bit later, but I suppose it does allow you to save up your Winds of Magic again to get some of those bigger summons in. Blood Knights are going to be running into the forest here. But a Giant coming over to assist these Besticles who are braced. So you get flung back a bit, but a massive swing coming in. Blood Knights are going to be cycling back here as more Black Knights do come charging in as well, whittling down these Besticles very effectively here. Manticore is fighting the Vampire Lord up in the sky. Not going to go too well for the Manticore, unfortunately. He's now been dragged away from the main fight. He will get a little bit of value and damage done overall. Blood Knights have been hit by a Warp Gaze here, and the Ive Morso going to get in some nice rocks on them, but he's very isolated here. He needs to fall back into the trees and get a bit of protection. These Black Knights going to pin him in place and allow the Blood Knights to catch up. So Vampire Lord taking a little bit of damage there from the Manticore, but nothing too crazy. We do have Sons of Goros rallying in to try and chase off these Black Knights, and the Ive Morso has managed to get back into the relative protection of this box. But he doesn't have any... well, he's got the trees, which are a bit of a problem. Obviously going to stop him fighting, but Giants do not have a forest penalty, which is huge here, fighting in the trees, while the rest of these big Cav, the Dragon and so forth, are going to have a penalty. So I actually really like the Giant pick here on this map. Black Knights coming for a nice charge here on the Black Pond Ravagers. Going to be sending some of those guys flying. But a nice counter charge by the Sons of Goros coming in here, trying to do damage and help protect the Giant. In the main line, Korok Man Rippers holding the line very valiantly, tearing down Crypt Horrors, and they are going to be having to kill a massive amount of Skeleton Monsters and Zombies as well. Morgul the Shadow Gave popping in the front line as well. Balance of Power though is in the favour here of Papa Palpatine, trying to level up this matchup here. Doing a decent job, and I really like his army on the match here. That Giant doing a big old vomit attack here on the Skeleton Warriors, or maybe more of a scream perhaps, and doing decent work. But it does look like this unit of Besticles on the right hand flank has been isolated here by the Vampire Lord, plus Blood Knights. All these guys getting a big invocation in the heck. These Besticles are probably going to get dragged off and chased off the battlefield, you would expect. Another Manticore summon that does come into play though could be used to chase off some of these Black Knights. And the Ive Morso is obstructed pretty heavily here with his rock throwing ability, so he's just standing there and chilling. Sons of Goros need to get into the action as well. Overall though, it's going relatively good. Vampire Lord trying his best here to go toe-to-toe with Giant, but he does have all those negatives here for fighting in the trees, whereas this Giant does not. A Cygor summon as well, trying to pin that guy in place. We may be able to come in for an assassination attempt here. Blood Knights are rallying though to their Liege Lord, trying to protect him where they can. Big rock coming through the trees here and smacking the Mortis Engine, forcing it away from the front line. Chaos Spawn are summoned as well, doing a decent job in the back lines. Looks like Vampire Lord floating up into the sky here. There's still hidden in the trees. Giants just shown relatively healthy as well, whereas one on the left hand flank very healthy here, helping tear through the zombies and so forth. Big breath attack coming down on the Korok Man Rippers, however. And Morgul gave popping that Call of Violence, making sure everyone stays fighting. Blood Knights trying their best to take down the Eye of Morso, and the Vampire Lord just shown on the periphery for now. Black Pond Ravagers fairly healthy as well, happily gutting through 56 zombies so far. Crypt Horrors and Black Knights just falling back, waiting for these summons to disappear before coming back in for another engagement. And this is a very messy affair right here. Korok Man Rippers doing a decent job here, just chilling out, protecting this Giant, and that's a really nice combination there. Giant helps clear out chaff quickly, Korok Man Rippers protect against all those anti-large tools that the vampires have, such as Blood Knights and so forth. Looks like Sons of Goros have been caught a little bit here in a trap. Zombies summoned behind them, and then Black Knights and Blood Knights ramming into their front here. They're going to do a huge amount of damage to these poor fellows who are now terrified and could well easily get chased off it. Blood Knights in the back trying their best to bring down the Eye of Morso, but they are getting that penalty for fighting in the forest, and of course he is not. And they do have Morgul the Shadow Gave as well to contend with. all the kind of beastmen are starting to get isolated in little pockets, but it's going to be really hard here for the vampire counts to actually kind of make them pay for that. Vampire Lord trying to snipe out the Brave Shaman of beasts here, and you can see his health just chunking there. He is equally surrounded by Black Knights, and he is terrified now, running for the hills. And the beastmen are slowly here being picked apart. Crypt Horror's doing a very decent job here, poisoning these giants and slowly starting to drag them and the Croc Man Rippers down, who are terrified. So can the Vampire Counts bring this back? The summon, of course, the longer the battle goes on, the more the summons dissipate and he can't use anymore. We do have some Chaos Spawn summon right here. But they are only fighting zombies, not really where they want to be. More Ascension as well is a good pick, but of course it is Ethereal here as well. So the balance power now slowly being dragged back into the kind of realms of the middle section here. Vestigor's trying to run back into the fray, and this Vampire Lord looks like it's coming in to snipe out the Brave Shaman of Wild. I believe there is still a Centaur summon to go, so he definitely wants to use that before that guy disappears. I've also, though, completely surrounded now by Cav. He does not want to be here, and he is getting forced off himself. Vampire Lord can now chase off this Brave Shaman of Wild to stop that extra Centaur summon coming in. And as the Chaos Spawn do falter, balance of power actually goes in favour of the Vampire Counts. It was quite heavily against them. And now the Giant has been isolated over here, and he is surrounded by so many forces, including the Vampire Lord. That Giant will be dragged down. This second one needs to go over here. They need to stack on top of each other and be backed up by Morga as well to stand a chance now. As the Ive Monster does rally, can turn around and get in some good rocks, but he's very low. And if I was Alec Rowell now, actually no, I like the assassination on the Giant here and finishing off before reinforcements can arrive. But after that's done, float up into the sky, come over here and snipe out to the Eye of Morso, who is covering in some pretty decent rock attacks. How many kills is this fellow up to? 43, not too bad. And we do have the Brave Shaman of Wilds rallying here, coming back. So if he gets one more Cygor summon, that could be really helpful here. Black Knights are slowly being dragged down, but the Giant, 3,000 health now. Morga as well, fighting a Vampire Lord. He's a very tanky fellow, but he can't really go toe-to-toe with a dragon. Looks like the Brave Shaman down here as well has also started to rout. Big rock hitting Vampire Lord in the hind there. Black Knights over here are starting to disintegrate, however. Gorok Man Rippers, not Gorok Man Rippers, sorry, Sons of Goros doing a decent job overall. But it looks like one unit of Blood Knights did disengage from this main engagement and pop on top of the Eye of Morstep, who's no longer in the forest as well. They will tear him limb from gigantic limb, and as you can see, down he goes very quickly there. Blood Knights do reign victorious, and a load of the Beastmen units are starting to shatter in the background here. Another unit of Blood Knights being used to chase off the Brave Shaman of Wild. The two Giants have stacked on top of each other here with a summoned Cygor, so he did manage to get that last summon off there. That is huge, helping him protect Morga here in the background. He needs to snipe out the Vampire Lord, I suppose, with his big Giants if he wants a chance of winning this. Looks like he has managed to pin him in with the Blackhorn Ravengers, Sons of Goros, and a Giant, so could do some decent job here, but a nice attack animation does fling the Vampire Lord into a bit more protection here, and Terror Rout on the Sons of Goros would allow him to flee if he so deems. He does have Blood Knights backing him up now. Over in the distance, Gorok Man Rippers are completely shattered, and this poor Brave Shaman of Wild is going to get slammed by these Blood Knights. They come with their lances, send him down to his knees, down to just 750 health. He's not long for this world. As you can see, the Cygor is starting to disappear as well. Big Giant coming in with the Vampire Lord in the rear. Should be able to break that guy and slowly tear him apart. The Crypt Horrors doing a decent job of pinning in these large entities and allowing the cycle charges of all these other damage dealers. Blood Knights on the right hand flank fighting this Giant, and the Vampire Lord simply going to swoop over here as well, I expect, to help finish this guy off. No, it looks like he instead is going to come up and around and swoop down, immediately shattering this last Brave Shaman with a hefty charge there. Morga is now surrounded by Crypt Horrors, unit zombies, and a Mortis Engine not where he wants to be at all. Balance power now going heavily in favour of the Vampire Counts. Really nice turn here of the game, and overall super competitive game, which we'd like to see. Giant now down to 1,000 health. It looks like he is nothing, but still 1,000. He's a thick boy indeed. But the Blood Knights plus the Vampire Lord are going to be too much for him. 460 health, 300, 200, and down he is going. His leadership is down to 0, and I don't think there's much hope for him at all. And Morga will be isolated and pulled apart here. And There we go. Army losses does come into a very well fought game by Papa Palpatine there, but unfortunately he does indeed get dragged down. I quite like his build. It is incredibly Death Star, but 210 kills on the Korok Man Rippers. And the two giants fighting in the forest, as they don't take any penalty to being there themselves, even though they are large entities. Really did put up a good fight against a really tough opponent and a tough matchup in the Vampire Counts. So many chevrons earned, but just not enough. So, we are going to go into the finals now. Pillar of Bone is the map. Where are you, Pillar of Bone? There you are. And it's going to be Alaric Ral up against Chosen One. So, Chosen One, if you are watching, please do hop in. If not, I'll pop him a little message soon. Wiki D, how's it going, dude? Nice to see you around. Hope you're doing all good today. This fight is really favouring the Beastman. It was, but he managed to isolate those giants at different points and slowly pull apart the Beastmen forces. And of course, summon spamming is really effective and useful, but at the same time, late game, it can be a problem if you use them too early. Power balance will go against you. Let these guys talk for a little bit, and I will check in and see how everyone's doing in the chat. Yeah, he played super good, man. He played good in both matchups. It was a 2-0 series to Alaric Ral here, but he definitely put up a fight there. Mortis isn't ethereal. Oh, my mistake, sorry. Am I thinking of the Gaze and the Gash? Is that ethereal? They look quite ethereal anyway, if they're their little glowiness. You're off today. Nice. I am also off today. I kind of had to be in, though, because we had builders round trying to fix our roof. But I am back to work, unfortunately, tomorrow for a couple of days. GG, so let's get Chosen One back in here. And I will update the scoreboard. So the final, so that was a 2-0 to Alaric Ral there. Boop. But now we're going to have Chosen One here, and the finals are now best of 5. Which I believe was Chosen One's idea, actually, back in the day. So the last couple of Death Before Dishonours have been switched up a little bit. So wait for him to join. So if you've got any questions, now is the perfect time to do it in this nice downtime. It's not ethereal. It looks like it is, but I don't really play Vampire Counts, unfortunately, so my knowledge on them is a little bit weaker compared to, you know, my knowledge on Lizardmen and such forces. Hopefully the mic sounds all good as well. It fell down earlier, so I've had to reset it all up. Hopefully it's not too shaky or anything. Let's drop Chosen One a little message on Discord. Cool. Send him a little message and we'll see when he gets back to us. Storm's ripping roofs off like no tomorrow. No, it's unfortunately a leak we've had for a while, since before Christmas actually. It's just our landlords are taking a very long time to sort it out, but it was damaging the roof in my living room quite badly that I was starting to bow a little bit, so they had to take it all out, because of course otherwise it could fall on someone and be dangerous. So half our living room roof is just gone at the moment. We've had to put little kiddie paddling pools underneath to catch drips. It's incredibly frustrating, but at least it is slowly getting sorted. Hey! I will flip a coin to see who picks and bans first. So, let's get the coin ready. So, heads, Alaric Ral will be picking first, tails, Chosen One. So, heads, so Alaric Ral to pick first. There we go. And this, of course, is best of 5. Not best of 3 like the semi-finals. Chosen One just left my quick battles. Hop in it now. Well played, Papa Palpatine, though. You did very good, man. That was a really tough matchup for you as well. But you did decent. I really like the Giants in the forest because they don't take that forest penalty. Unluck as usual. Looks like he is going to go for his favourite Norska, who I assume with the name Alric Ral he does favour and try and main for the most point. Flip a coin to your banner, indeed! Need a coin cam. I was contemplating getting a face cam soon. You guys can finally say that I am in fact a duck, not a real human being. Maybe the illusion will disappear. But we will see. I wasn't sure like if I should invest in one or not because it's going to be a little bit of money, but I don't know if a face cam is necessary for Total War. But at the same time, I'm going to eventually branch out to probably doing some reviews as well of different games and movies, so possibly a face cam could be useful. Anyway, it looks like Alric Ral is going Norska and banning Wood Elves and Tomb Kings. I think Wood Elves are a really good counter for Norska, although they've got a lot of fast-moving forces as well. Skin Wolves, lots of Marauders on horses as well, can be very deadly. So it should be good fun. I wonder who chose one's going to go. Looks like he's just sorting out. Cool. Looks like we're all good on Discord as well, no questions. So of course playing the Warhammer Cup rules made by the mighty Shetland Apache. There's currently 2 rule sets out there at the moment. I'm just more used to this one, that's why I play it. But I believe Area Classic has also made a very good and viable set of rules as well. So maybe we'll try them out at different points and mix a match, but we'll see for now. But I feel like Factions North is strong against. I mean, Wood Elves have so much kind of like Glade Riders, Glade Guard, Waywatchers and so forth, which are good against all kind of like the large forces plus all the naked running around Norskans. But it should be fun. But then again, never, my opinion, or my advice to players, yes, they're in the meta, or the current game meta, there is forces which counter other ones by the general consensus. But if you think you know something that the other person doesn't, you have a build which you think can counter those type of things, then go with yourself. Don't kind of fall in and become a sheep and think, oh, I can never take Lizardmen against Tomb Kings, because you've heard that Ushopti Great Bows destroy Lizardmen. Because it's not true. You can bring salamanders, you can bring skinks. There's so many different ways you can play it. So if you think you have an advantage over your opponent by doing something, go for it. Don't kind of limit yourself. And also don't limit yourself to builds. Try wacky and crazy stuff. On a recent King of the Hill, not the last one but the one before, we saw a move hacker bring in loads of crazy builds with Lizardmen that you would not consider competitive, and he won like 7 games in a row. Of course, he's a very good player as well, so you have to balance that into consideration as well. Looks like he is going the mighty Lizardmen, yes! My donor boys are being represented. Look at Falcon's glory masks. Oh, his you mean his Krotgar mask for his live stream? Hell yeah. If you guys are just joining now, you are welcome for one, but you have made yourself here just in time for the finals. So we did have 2 semi-finals between Chosen One and Stormrunner, which was a 2-0 in Chosen One's favour, and we just had a semi-final between Alric Ral and Papa Palpatine. Both semi-finals were hotly contested, but they both did end in 2-0, so now we are here for the best of 5 finals. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, and we do all things Total War, multiplayer replays, tournaments, live streams, King of the Hills, all that good stuff. So if that's kind of what you're into, feel free to stick around and subscribe and all that good stuff. If you want to get involved, I do have a Discord just in the description down below where you can chat to me, have a good time, post replays as well, which I can cast, and get involved in the tournament scene. Dragons, Medusas, and others. I haven't actually seen all his masks. I need to go back. So for those who don't know, Falcon, very good player and does stream on Twitch, I believe. His name on there isn't Falcon though, because I believe that was taken. But if you go through in the Discord, you should be able to find his Twitch. I would drop a link in the description, but unfortunately, I think I need to be a YouTube partner before I can do that, which is 1,000 subs and so many minutes watched. But I don't really have to worry about that because I've already got, I think, like triple or something. What I actually need. So when I finally do get to a number, though, I will start, posting links and so forth. You like Chosen One's icon? Ah, the Skaven. Yes, of course, Dan Newwood. I believe he does main Skaven. He's also incredibly good with Wood Elves. I feel like everyone who has an ODM member seems to be good with Wood Elves. Pacta, Zyphos, what's his name? Oh, he played on my stream the other day. Vyash? I think his name is Vyash. He's got Gandalf the White as his picture. He's an incredibly good player as well. They are one of the biggest clans up there with Extreme Meme Team, QSA, and so forth. It should be good fun. Pillarbone, very open map. There is some trees though and some hills. There's kind of a killing pit here down here on the right hand side. But you don't have to go down there if you don't want to. There's also some trees for nice cover indeed. Chosen one is ready now, just waiting on the mighty Alrak Ral. Which of course, no pressure, there's no kind of time limit on this, so these guys can just take the time. So I'm going to have a quick sip of my drink out my flask now, so apologies for the squeakiness of the top there. We are good to go. Who is your money on? Both these guys coming into this hot with 2 back-to-back wins. It's going to be tough. I don't know if I've casted these two guys up against each other yet on the channel. I think they've both played in a King of the Hill together, but I'm not sure if they ran into each other. But it should be good fun. Chose one, of course, a veteran now, having also got to the finals in Season 2. So he knows what this is about. Alrak Ral is competing on the channel. He's relatively new to the channel, started playing a couple of weeks ago. It's good to have him around, and a very good player overall. Just going to double check Discord, make sure none are asking questions. Nope, looks like we're all good. Let's wait on these guys. Both these guys are great indeed. Cool. They're both also super easy people to get on with, luckily. No real qualms or like problems. They arrive on time. Always good sportsmanship as well. Really fun battles, which is what I look for in the most part, as long as there's good sportsmanship. Obviously, hence death before dishonor. Before you dishonor yourself by cheating or kind of being a pain or aggressive to people, you would rather, lose before that. Hence death before dishonor. And these two competitors can be going neck and neck. I don't know who this matchup favours between them both. I think it's quite hard to tell on Total War. I think all the top players can beat each other just on any given day. So it should be good fun. Let's have a little look through this Norscan build here. Going very, very mobile here with Marauder Horsemasters. 4 units overall. Really fast moving skirmish. Going to be very good up against lizardmen in general. Can tear down giant monsters. Also run over skinks as well. For his main battle line, we're going to have cheap... Oh no, not cheap and cheerful Marauders. We have Marauder Champions. 4 units, in fact. So the much more elite version of Marauders. These guys are buff as hell. And do a decent job up against skinks. Well, tear skinks apart, to be honest. And also do a decent job up against Saurosaurs. We have the Maws of Savagery. Seems like he is a favourite of this... of Alrak Ral. He likes bringing these guys a lot. And I agree, they are incredibly cool. Regeneration, bonus versus large, all that good stuff. We also have some Familiar Warriors with great weapons as well. And then in the trees, we have a Shaman Sorcerer of Metal here, going very hardcore. Bringing in Final Transmutation and Plague of Rust. And we have Frog, an incredibly risky pick because Salamanders, Umbral Tide, or Krokgar's Hand of the Gods will tear him apart in seconds. But if not, he can do some decent work. Now, for the Lizardmen force, let's go over and see his main battle line. We have Skink cohorts in the front here, backed up by Skink cohorts with Javelins who can get some decent throw-in attacks in before they charge into combat. So be good to counter the Marauder Horsemasters and do okay damage against the Marauder Champions, but they do have shields, which is a bit of a problem here. In the back line, we do have Salamander Hunting Pack, who if left protected, can do very good work on Frog and those Skin Wolves, as previously stated. Cold One Spear Riders in the back as well for a bit of protection. We have Basildon Solar Engine, who also does magic and fire damage, so Skin Wolves and Frog beware. We have a Slan Mage Priest of Light here, very interesting choice. Coming in with, of course, Shield of the Old Ones, Aura of Quetzal, Blood Statue of Spite, Bronus Time Warp, and Far's Protection. We have a Skink Chief, completely naked, which is a really nice pick. He's super cheap and can get onto that back line very quickly. 2 units of Temple Guard, going much more hardcore centre there. In fact, 3 units of Temple Guard going to be a pain to deal with. And up in the sky, we have 2 Pterodon Riders who are instantly going to have to get out of there, as they will get mauled to death by just the sheer amount of javelins that are kind of be transformed into pincushions, who are going to chase them right here. But the Salamanders could push up and do decent damage to these guys as well. It looks like one of the Pterodon Riders is in fact the Pohawk Sentinels, who have a very deadly rock drop. Could see that being dropped on a unit of Marauder Champions and getting fantastic value. Looks like Basildon trying to keep these guys at arm's reach by finding them there. And the skink cohorts with javelins, a very good counter here. They need to be a bit careful as these guys can come into combat and just run these poor little skinks over. Lord of Horsemasters, for the most part, have been forced off without doing too much damage. One Pterodon Riders have taken a little bit. It looks like Lisbon are just repositioned and moving up a little bit. Cold One Spear Riders and the Salamander Hunterback trying to hide in the trees. Looks like just the Salamanders are hidden for now, being used as a secret weapon. Frog is starting to advance with the rest of his forces now. And looks like we're going to get a charge here from the Horsemasters. No, they're just trying to get forward and push off the Pterodon Riders where they can and get some nice value. The Skink's going to be keeping these guys at arm's reach. Another shot coming in as well. More champions, however, going to chase these little Skink cohort back. They are taking javelins to the flank now, which is pretty good for the Skinks here. Cold One Spear Riders also pushing out here where they can. More savagery as well. So it looks like most of the battle is going to collapse in on this right-hand side, with the Norskins trying to stretch the battle line a little bit. And the Salamanders are finally now moving up into position. Oh, going to have a nice Plague of Rust coming down here on these Temple Guard, really allowing these Mortar Champs to do decent work. And the Horsemen can now throw some javelins in there and do some crazy damage. We're going to have a banishment coming down in the back lines here. Looks like Alec Brow did spot it, but he is still taking a lot of damage. Salamander's getting some nice Overwatch fire as well, and you can see how much damage they do just with a couple of volleys here. Doing really nice work. Cold One Spear Riders again cycle charging into the Mortar Champions who do have a Blood Statue of Spite on them, trying to force these guys off where possible. Now Salamanders turn around and hop on Frog here. You will decimate him. It is so scary how much damage those guys do. Skink cohorts are going to lose some more champions, but they're pinning them in place for now. Temple Guard are getting a little bit isolated, but looks like a bonus time warp. It did manage just about to catch both those units, and they will now destroy Mortar Champions very, very quickly. So Salamander Hunting Pack as well actually has bronze time warp on it, which is quite funny. But those guys are shooting in, aiming at the Skin Wolves. More of Savage there being forced off relatively quickly here. Pterodon Riders could possibly chase them off the battlefield, would be a really nice pick if they can get them away from all these Horsemasters. Over here, Skink Cohort doing far better against Mortar Champions than I'd expect, holding the line for a ridiculous amount of time, even though they're not doing much damage. Temple Guard, however, doing a really nice job here. Salamanders once again firing some shots over, trying to force off the Marauder Horsemasters, maybe leaving the Frog to the end here. And Mortar Champions are starting to falter all round. Thamir Warriors as well, relatively healthy but forced off. I would take this beat up Playhawk Sentinels and chase these guys off the battlefield. Actually, your Skink cohorts here, they can do the job relatively effective as well. So the Norskins are trying to fall back and rally a little bit. And we do have a Overcast Final Transmutation catching both the units of Temple Guard plus some Skink cohorts here. So doing some really nice value overall. Poseidon Soul Engine up to 32 kills against those Mortar Horsemasters, pretty good value as well. Skink cohorts finally breaking on this flank, but looks like Cold One Spear Riders are going to rally around and get a nice charge indeed. Temple Guard holding the champions at bay. Looks like some shots coming in from the big old Gary here, rocking the Soul Engine at Frog. Although he does not want to be charged by that fella, he needs to fall back out of there, get to the protection of the Temple Guard. Looks like he is turning, but Frog, massive smack there. Looks like the defense of the Basildon does hold, though. Skink cohorts rallying to his aid. Overall, I think things are going very well for the Lizardmen. Very healthy Slar Mage Priest is going into battle up against the Shaman Sorcerer of Death here, dropping his little mini nukes there and breaking that guy off. Looks like the Thamir Warriors, though, do have a nice target here. Popping on top of the Slar Mage Priest, who's going to have to try and escape. Salamanders now launching shots into Frog and those Skin Wolves who want to get out of there as quick as possible. I believe we're going to have another Bronus Time Warp. A Overcast one as well, given that extended duration. Popping down in this key area. Look how many units he is capturing. Frog desperately trying to get into the back here to shut down the Salamanders, but he is starting to wave, and as they come charging in, they should break him off there. Leadership is going back up though, so he may be able to rally. Salamanders need to fall back now and to relative safety and get some decent shots in. Still a lot of horsemen active. Probably need to swoop in and get into the Salamanders into combat and try and force them off. And in the distance, Familiar Wars were broken just by mass skinks, and the Temple Guard helping protect the Slam Mage Priest of Light. Shield of the Old Ones. I think the first one we've seen all battle actually, popping down, helping protect this Skink Priest, who also has Fast Protection popped on him as well. Bit of overkill perhaps, but it does leave him basically no damage was dealt to him by all of these Mortal Horsemasters charging in. Salamanders have been caught at last though. Mixture of Mortal Horsemen and Mortal Savagery have kept them in place. But it looks like a sacrificial banishment may be coming down here. Knowing these guys are probably lost, dropping that down again. Unfortunately not too much value. Really nice play by Alric Roll there, spotting that early on and fleeing with all his forces. But I think this is going to be a step too far for the Norscans, although Frog is rallying here, popping on top of that Skink Chief, and without the fire damage of the Salamanders now, he's going to be much harder to take down. You can see him focusing down the Basildon solar engine as well. If they can get him off the field, there's no more fire damage left, but some Cold One Spear Rise with Bronus Time Warp popped on them are going to do fantastic work up against Frog there. Skinks are just dotted everywhere around the battlefield, trying to clear up Marauder champions where they can. Temper Guard here, up to 45 kills, mopping up that unit as well. And the final unit of Temper Guard just trying to chase down more Savagery and Horse Moths where possible, but it looks like army losses is setting in. Frog finally pops on top of the Salan Mage Priest, but not quite enough. What a close game there. I really like Chosen One's army. I actually have an army myself that I use against Norscans, been trying out recently. Super cool build. Temper Guard, incredibly sticky unit, hard to drag down, good against the big threats. Salamander Hunting Pack, of course, fire damage to deal with Skin Wolves and Frog. Also, same with Bastiladon with Solar Engine there. At the same time, really nice attempt by Alric Roll in a tough matchup for the Norscans. Actually, fairly even matchup, I would say. Frog, super risky, but still got great value out of him there with 50 kills. GG, close game. So we're going to be moving on to the next map, which is going to be Mirror Woods. And of course, is going to be chosen to pick and ban. And I will update the scoreboard for this best of 5 finals here. So it is 1-0 to Chosen One. Let's have a little look through chat and see what I've missed. Do you know what will be the 200 sub special? I am not sure. I'm not actually sure how close I am to the 200 sub mark yet. We were 195-ish perhaps before the start of the stream. Not quite sure. Yeah, I think it's an even matchup as well, Ronin. I agree. But Temper Guard, they did work. And of course, I love the Temper Guard being very thematic and cool, especially like the Regiment Renowned version. Did someone set the funds to Ultra? No, I did not believe so. No, funds are just on a large. Peace out, Ronin. Nice to see you, dude. And don't worry, the stream will be fully uploaded afterwards as well. And sad to say I couldn't join. No worries, King of the Dead. We will. I will certainly try and get you back into the next one. So there's still one more qualifier for this season. I'll drop you a message when I know when it's going to be. It'll probably be at some point either next week or the week after, depending if we do the Season 2 finale or not. Chosen to pick and bang. Make sure they didn't message me on anything else on Steam or Discord. Nope, looks like they're just contemplating his decision. What's up, Magnus? How's it going, dude? Nice to see you, man. We'll definitely try and get you back in one of these relatively soon as well. So, Chosen One is going Dark Elves, banning Wood Elves and Tomb Kings. Okay. Very interesting overall. Now, what would I go up into Dark Elves? I actually, with the nerf to Scorcher and Chariots, I quite like going Lizardmen, but I like taking Lizardmen against everyone. So, you know, that's kind of my own fault there. Be interesting to see who Alric Ral goes. He has had his favourite Norska defeated here, and Chosen One still has Skaven in his back pocket. Probably going to be trying to use them for the third game, I would expect. There's a lot of kind of mind games of who you pick and ban, especially if you know your opponent, and do you risk... So a lot of time, you may not want to take your like best armies straight away, like Lizardmen or Dwarfs or whatever, because your opponent could hard counter it. The longer the time goes on, the longer the rounds, less chances they are going to have countering it. But if you leave it too late, your opponent could keep one in the back pocket, knowing that's your favourite faction, and counter you hard at the very end. But it looks like Alric Ral is indeed going Bretonia. So we are going to see the Knights of the Lady here. Looks like Chosen One just checking out Bretonia to see what they can bring to the table. You actually just won a game in Noobs Tournament. Hell yeah, man. Me and Magnus actually did do a best of 3 earlier today as well, which was good fun. But yes, hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. It's been good fun. And we are onto Mirror Woods, which doesn't have anywhere near as much woods as you would expect, considering the title of the map. But there's a load of room in the back for vanguarding, and a decent amount of woods and hills as well for sneaky stabbings and all that good stuff. At the same time, if you want to bring a ranged army, you can. Especially on this side, you can deploy down here and force your opponent down the hill and out of the trees, or in this gap if you are defending it from the other side. Looks like Al-Ral is up and ready. And we're just waiting on Chosen One. Gonna have a quick drink again, just to keep my throat nice and not getting too dry. Oh, looks like they're all good. Oops, celeb, let's see what you said. I think it also depends what your favourite, or what's your best faction is. A matchup dependent faction like Chaos, keep in the back pocket. Things like Lisbon and Skaven should be first pickable. Yeah, true. There's some factions which, like Lizardmen, I feel can take on pretty much anyone. Yes, they have tougher matchups than some, but them, I even think High Elves as well, Empire, can face off against anyone. Whereas if your favourite faction is Dwarfs, there's certain people you just do not want to face. Oh. Looks like Chosen One might be doing a last minute change. There we go. I agree with that. I think that's a really good shout there. And Celeb, big shout out to him as well. He was one of our backups for today, so we will try. I try and get the backups first pickings on the next tournament, just so, you know, as a kind of a thank you for being there, just in case. So, of course, King of the Dead and Celeb will hopefully both be appearing in the next Death Before Dishonour. Anyway, back to the battlefield. We're going to be taking place. This looks a lot like Switzerland, with massive rolling mountains in all around us, which is really lovely. Nice lake over here as well, with some beautiful architecture and a load of hilly trees. So let's have a little look at Al-Ral and see if he can level this best of 5 series back to 1-1. So for the main line, we have the greatest unit in the game, the heroic peasant mob, able to go toe-to-toe with any elite infantry and get absolutely hammered. But that is their job, and they are there to die and just hold the line. Looks like that is it for his infantry corps. Very interesting builds coming out here. We have a field trebuchet. Unfortunately, no blessed field trebuchet, but still will do some decent long-range damage to elite troops and cheap troops, but you want to get it on those, you know, Blackguard, Lagrand, and so forth. We then have a load of cav, Knights of the Realm. Looks like 2 Knights of the Realm total, unless there's some hide in the trees over there. Looks like 2 total for the most part. We then have Royal Hippogriff Knights, a unit I don't think we've seen yet in a tournament on the channel. They've definitely been improved over the years. Huge health pool, and they pack an absolute punch. And he has brought 2 of them, including some Royal Pegasus Knights. Now, backing up this little flying squad, we have a Paladin on top of a Pegasus, and the mighty Alberic, which will of course give bonus versus large to all the forces around him as well. Do these guys come with it already? Don't think they do, so makes a very powerful air force here. And has he brought his trident? Of course he does. Who is Alberic without the wrath of Mannanan with him? Although I have seen this actually break entire friendly fire troops as well, which can be pretty disastrous. So, very interesting forces overall. Is there anything else hidden in the trees? We do have a Damsel of Life with, of course, Regrowth and Awakening of the Woods. So, for the Dark Elves, in the rear we have 2 Dark Riders just hiding out. And the rest looks like much more of a defensive formation. We have 2 Black Ark Corsairs of Handbows in the front line, a load of Dread Spears in a very defensive formation, 2 Black Guard of Nagarin holding down the rear, going to be very good up against the Royal Hippogriffs and so forth. We have Malekith up in the sky, though, who has to be incredibly careful, as he can definitely be sniped out here by this huge flying corps. We have the Chill of Sontar, regiment-renowned War Hydra, with all its glorious heads there snapping and clawing at each other. We also have the Scourge Runner Chariot, just the one, and it looks like that pretty much wraps up his army. Let's see what Malekith has spell-wise. Looks like Gaze of Malice and, of course, Soul Stealer. Chill Wind and a few other little bits as well. So this is pretty interesting. The Dark Elves are kind of need to come over here to deal with the field trebuchet, but they're going to be exposing their flank and their formation to this incredibly powerful flying core here. So many knights as well on the ground. Looks like the Dark Riders trying to swoop around, probably get some... Oh, they could come over here and just crash on this field trebuchet and run down the peasant mobs very effectively. But it looks like the Flying Corps has been made aware of this, and they are going to be falling back to protect their lines here. And these guys could just swoop on these Dark Riders. Actually, I don't know if he's spotted them yet. They might be hidden from his view, using the hill here to sneak around. If they haven't been spotted, that could be pretty disastrous. That trebuchet will just get taken out immediately. The Death Blob is starting to work its way over there. Some early shots coming up, but looks like for the most part just missing. A couple of shots coming down the roll. Pegasus Knights looks like they are coming in for an Alpha Strike here though. Just trying to get some free damage on the Black Arc Corsairs. And we are having a Trident come down as well. Doing some very nice work to that Black Guard there. Doing huge damage actually, as all of the Knights come crashing in and getting ready for a bit of Cycle Charge. And of course do have Dread Spears in here as well. So they might be able to force these guys off. And a big Soul Sealer does come down, however, catching a decent amount of units. Of course, the Trebuchet is still firing as well, so he's allowed to Cycle Charge at the moment. Huge amount of firepower coming up to the Paladin, though, who took an absolute beating there. Balance power still very even in the early stages, and unfortunately, this Damsel of Life has been spotted now. Malekith, though, is overextended hugely here. Blackguard trying to get to his aid, but he's now completely surrounded by Royal Hippogriff Knights, and all of these brave Knights of Bretonnia would love to be able to go home and tell the tale of how they were the ones to slay Malekith. A nice gaze coming down, trying to get some good value, and the Chill of Sontar and Blackguard are here to rally now, but he did just use Soul Stealer. If he had saved it for now, an Overcast Soul Stealer would be so powerful, but he's taken an absolute hammering. In the back, Dark Riders did manage to pop on top of that field trebuchet, and they should shut it down relatively easy. The real fight is going up here, but Malekith just been absolutely nuked here. Look at his health disappear, down to 1,400. As this, all I think it is, no, it's an extended Earthblood. Healing up these guys and getting some fantastic value. Malekith is going to be able to get out of there, should be able to get up into the air and hopefully rally for Chosen One here. But some Pegasus Knights could fly over and force them off the field if they are quick enough. In the distance, Dark Riders doing a decent job. Looks like they have broken off the field trebuchet, so that is a little bit of a victory there. Looks like a nice Awakening Woods popping down on top of the Black Arc Corsairs and Black Guard here, who still can rally around the Chill of Sontar and force off a lot of these Knights, who are starting to fall back a little bit. Peasant mobs doing their best up against Dark Riders over distance here. Do they have a kill yet? 5 kills for Peasant mobs. Very nice play by those guys overall. So Field Trebuchet is still routing, and where is Malekith? He has rallied, but unfortunately for him, it looks like... Oh, did drop a random Chill of Sontar there as well. Maybe a misclick trying to get back and protect himself. Is going to be forced off by the mighty Alberic. A Soul Sealer popped on him right there. So Malekith's health is going up here, but he's probably going to get chased off the field here by Alberic if he knows what's good for him. The rest of the forces, though, still relatively okay shape. It is still possible to win this if Malekith goes down. Blackguard will do a decent job up against the big nasties, but at the same time, they are, this unit fairly healthy. The other one down below half health. Squadron of Chariots trying to get over here and rescue Malekith, but I feel like he's going to get forced off the field. Alberic taking a bit of damage in the process, getting some nice rear attacks from the Squadron of Chariots here, but poor little Malekith, still a way to travel, you never know, but I don't see Alberic letting up anytime soon. Where are all those Dark Riders? It looks like they may have been slain by this huge flying corps here. Yeah, you can see all their corpses down on the ground, quite unceremoniously dumped there. And the Field Trebuchet crew can now get actually back onto their artillery piece, and that could be really key. But the Dark Elves very wisely going to be taking the fight into the forest, which I highly recommend. Get all these guys on a negative. Yes, the Chill of Sontar will take forest penalty, but the rest of his forces are foot troops. Looks like Malekith is going to get escorted off here, but he will come back to fight another day. Down to 700 health, he thinks, you know what, it's not worth it. Peace out, guys. I'll leave the Chill of Sontar in charge to take course of the battle. And that is a huge blow for the Dark Elves, though, of course, he has now lost all his Winds of Magic. Make sure there wasn't any questions there. Both players just saying they were ready and so forth. As the Peasant mobs do gloriously charge into the front line here. Going to start trying to bog down these Dread Spears and allow all the constant cycle charging of the Cav to come into play. Black Orc Corsairs, though, nice volleys into the peasant mobs, who are terrified here by the Chill of Sontar, and I do not blame them at all. Look at that thing, it is disgusting. And I wouldn't even know where to attack. Wherever you go, you're going to get those nasty heads snapping at you. In come all the Royal Pegasus Knights, trying to swarm the Chill of Sontar. Looks like we are getting a fat Earthblood as well, keeping those guys in action. Not really doing too much damage though, and the Blackguard forcing these guys off fairly effectively, but they have managed to tear out some Dread Spears. They can isolate those guys now and pick them off. That'd be a probably really good way for managing the game now from Alec Rahl, is trying to break people with terror and so forth, force them off, and then just chase them down and pull apart this army one by one, much like he did to that Beastmen army in the previous round. These guys are once again swooping in, trying to probably decimate the Black Guard here and break those guys off. But every time they charge in, they're going to be losing health, losing models overall. Alberic has returned to the field of battle victorious, and we're going to get a huge trident coming down here. Poor peasants, they're probably going to get eaten a little bit by it as well. Look at the value coming down that arc. They're hitting all those Black Arc Corsairs. Apologies for the siren in the background. Looks like we have an ambulance going by. I do live quite close to a hospital, which could be pretty useful one day, so who knows, so I can't complain too much. Royal Hippogriff Knights are getting healed up once again, coming in for an assassination attempt on the Scourge Runner Chariots, trying to get some cinematic views here. It's quite hard amongst the trees. You can see some of those chariots briefly, or very quickly there, going down, as the balance power does start to swing in favour of the mighty Bretonnians. The Knights of the Realm, terrified. How disgraceful. These Knights of the Realm are terrified by the mighty Chill of Sontar, but they should rally and come back to the main fight. And as you can see, little clumps at a time are getting isolated for the Dark Elves, and the added mobility of the Hippogriff Knights, the Pegasus and so forth, can now just chase these guys down, finish them off, allow the peasants to just, fight here and die, while the Knights go out there and gloriously just start picking off troops. Alberic incredibly healthy. So some Dread Spears think they're man enough. They think they can have a go, but they're going to be getting flung left and right by this mighty Hippogriff. And these guys are very soon going to break. Leadership popping down now. It looks like a couple of shots from the Scourge Runner Chariot are going to get some decent work on Alberic for, pay a price for taking down those Dread Spears. Over here, looks like, these troops are all coming over here to chase off the Black Orc Corsairs, force them off, and what is left for this Dark Elf Corps? We have two units of Blackguard, very beat up, some Black Orc Corsairs, some Dread Spears, and a relatively very healthy Chill of Sontar. I don't think he's going to have enough to carry the day. We also have the Scourge Runner Chariots who have fallen back to this nice clump here. Maybe even these Dread Spears can get back into the action. As for the Bretonnian, we have a couple of mighty units of peasant mobs. We have the Damsel of Life, and it looks like he's managed to isolate the Chill of Sontar, at least for a little bit here. Pinned him in with two Knights of the Realm, plus Alberic, gets some really nice value. The Chill of Sontar very slowly falls back, but all the time it's taking those rear attacks here. But the Blackguard couldn't get over in time to support. He's trying to fall back to them. The Knights of the Realm coming back in again with a second charge. So actually a bit of a miss there. Looks like they're going for the Dread Spears instead. Or the Black Arc Guard there. Royal Hippogriff Knights popping over, probably going to be coming in for a final engagement sometime soon. All this cycle charging is doing absolutely horrific damage to the leadership of the Dark Elves. As you can see, Scourge Runner Chariots are now being forced off. War Hydra is also starting to break, and with that, the balance power will certainly go into army losses, and the game will be tied up, or the set, sorry, to 1-1 as Alec Rahl fights back here. A very dominant display there with his Bretonnian. Super close game in the end anyway, with a Pyrrhic victory, but losing Malekith, which was going to be really hard to protect him up against such a powerful ranged core. But losing Malekith really did, take away all that magic, all those nasty big old spells he could drop to actually take down these knights. So GG's overall to everyone there, and we are on to Alpine Ridge. Now that's an Air Force. Indeed, that was powerful. Oh. So let's update the scoreboard to reflect that, and that is 1-1, which is always good to see. And hop back into the game. So very well played to Alec Rahl there, dragging the set back, and we're now on Alpine Ridge, an OG Total War map. So now in this downtime, if you guys got any questions, feel free to ask, and I can look through and have a little chat with you. Peasant mobs, indeed! 100 gold is so cheap. They are pretty trash, but at the same time, they serve a purpose, right? They're there to soak up damage Flanking as well on top of ranged troops and eating missiles. I agree, they're pretty damn good. But yes, GG's all round. Oh, he misclicked, unfortunately, but he didn't think I would save Malekith. I have to agree there, I think. It does suck, though. Misclicking does happen, and as you can see here, even the top players misclick as well. So if you're a new player, don't worry about it. It takes patience and learning, basically, the game. Just keep playing. Best way to get better is to play the better players, play in tournaments such as this, play in King of the Hills, play on ladder, and just get that practice in. You will slowly improve. Oh, chosen one. So is it 2 or 1 ban now? Still 2. If it goes to game 5, it will be blind. So Chosen says, I know your goal Empire, you don't have to pre-pick. So for those who don't know, blind picks is basically where they both send me a pick without knowing what the other person's going to take. Which is what we do, of course, if it goes to the best of 5, because otherwise someone would have picked more times than the other one, which is a little bit unfair. Cool, cool. Alpine Ridge, super fun map, as you can see on this left-hand flank. Lots of trees on the periphery there. Allows you to do some sneaky stabbings, but at the same time, the kind of dominant part of this battlefield is this huge hill in the middle. It's a big decision maker, really. Do you take the high ground, make Obi-Wan proud, and defend from up there, which can be very effective, and also allows you to see your opponent, because of course at the start of the game there's a big hill in the way, so you can't see each other, and that's a huge part of this game, is determining what your opponent has, determining what you have, and trying to get those matchups in the battlefield that favour you the most. At the same time, you can sit back and just shoot people off the hill, let them have the high ground. It doesn't do them any good if you're going to be blotting out the sun with loads of arrows. Alec Ral is going Empire and banning Dowie and Skaven here. I think there's some very good bans, especially Dowie. I think counts Empire very effectively. They just do everything the Empire can. So Empire, best way to take down armor is with, you know, guns and so forth, and the Dowie just better at it. They do everything the Empire want to do, just better. And Skaven as well can be a big pain, and we know Chosen One loves his Skaven. Maybe Alec Ral has something in his back pocket to deal with them, because I have no doubt they will be coming out in the next round. No, I forgot Raptor. I've not shown the duck profile pic. So Raptor's friend very kindly has decided to make a profile picture for me, which I'll also have on the channel as well, of a duck. I'll try and get it in at the end of the stream, see if I can load it up. Might be a bit fiddly, and I might have to do it in the next stream. But I want to get people's opinion on it and see if they like it. It's very cool. It's those are ducks riding tanks, basically. And get people's opinion. Raptor, are you going to be streaming anytime soon? I don't know if you streamed since the first attempt, which obviously had a few problems because of the beta and so forth. Yes, we're getting the boys! The boys! We're getting greenskins up against Empire. I expect to see Karl Franz here, very good in this matchup. Can duel all of the greenskin lords to death, and at the same time can tear out a lot of their forces. Greenskin's notorious for having low leadership, but at the same time you have to be aware he can get pinned in very easily. Karl Franz looks like a big tough guy, but he's pretty damn squishy. If he charges in and gets trapped by some nasty skulkers, if they pop their smoke bomb and so forth, he can go down incredibly quickly. I think Alec Rawl's going to go incredibly heavy on the cav here. At least that's my opinion. Maybe tomorrow. No, I'm working tomorrow, like all day. Sad face. But I can definitely tune in afterwards and catch up. For those who don't know, Raptor does have an account on Twitch, so keep an eye out. I'm sure he'll be advertising on all the big Discords. Should be good fun. Let these guys decide their matchups. So, I also want to hear people's opinion on this. I've kind of dropped it in my Discord, but it'd be good to get other people's view as well. For the last qualifier, I'm tempted to open up the Death Before Dishonour to everyone, so unlimited kind of entries, to take place like on challenge, and then I'll simply cast the semi-finals and finals, much in a way the ECL currently works. Allow me to get a lot more players in, but at the same time, I host on work days, during the week, So people have to be available throughout the week for an extended period of time. So I don't know if that's going to work, if it would go on too long, because it doesn't... it's a lot of time for people to come in, play multiple rounds, then wait for me to stream, hop on top of semi-finals and finals. We may try it possibly as kind of the final of each season, just to allow people who haven't had a chance to play, but it'd be nice to get a bit of feedback. Should I do more of an ECL format, or keep the current just for 4-man, and just first come, first serve? We do try and get new players in as well, of course, but it'd be nice to hear. What's up, Briggsy? Hope work goes well, man. Thanks for popping in. Don't worry, all the stream will get uploaded. It takes a couple of hours after... Well, it depends on the length of the stream, but we'll take a couple of hours once the stream's done, and then you can simply come back and watch it. We're in the finals right now. Really hotly contested 2 semi-finals, both 2-0s, but very good games overall. And best of 5 has gone to 1-1 so far. So we're guaranteed a couple more games, which is always good fun. Looks like Chosen One is ready. I'm praying for an all-goblin build. That's what I want. Deep down, I'm a goblin at heart, and I'm like a crossbreed, I think, between a duck and a goblin. I love goblin builds. Shaman on a wolf, and then just full vanguard. Maybe one Doomdiver kept to the back with some nasty skulkers to put on continuous pressure. And let's go full vanguard. Nasty skulkers, chevroned up night goblins, tons of squig hoppers. It can be so much fun. But really good. So it looks like he is ready. Just waiting on the mighty Alec Rahl. Gonna take a little sip of my drink to keep me alive. So we probably have a little while to go, especially if these guys seem very evenly matched. Keep up the good games. When we used to do the best of 3 finals, we did have a few particularly short Death Before Dishonour where someone just steamrolled through, like 2 2-0s and then a 2-0 final. So it is quite nice having the best of 5 final. Also kind of stretches players' skill, as they have to know a few more factions. There's going to be more games. Yes, Celeb, yeah, we've already discussed it in the Discord, Harry. But yeah, possibly, maybe a max of 8 players, which I think will be plenty during a weekday. I'm very lucky. I don't seem to struggle ever to actually find players to play in these events. But again, a lot of my events are quite small, or something like King of the Hill is a lot more relaxed. So I just have, everyone can kind of play, don't worry about skill level, just good fun. But at the same time, if you're a new player, feel free to play my tournaments as well. I always like having 1 or 2 newer players and 1 or 2 more experienced players in the mix. Makes us some good games. I find a lot of the newer players come with off-meta picks, which can really throw people, and it's good practice as well. Keeps the community growing, which is the main thing. Of course, if you are looking at these type of streams and you're like, oh, this is a really fun game, I play Total War, but I don't know if I'm good enough multiplayer-wise, I highly recommend you hop in and play it. It's really good fun, super friendly community. The way it's run works so much better than how most games work. Most games are run by kind of the company and whatnot in terms of tournaments. So like a Call of Duty, for example, has big, huge events. But it's just... the atmosphere is really quite toxic. I only know this because my housemate used to play in it, competitive player. And it's really just toxic in general, kind of a horrible way to play. But because the community is the ones who run all the tournaments in this game, if you are a toxic person, you will just get banned from playing in those kind of events before. And the community decide the rules as well to make them balanced and fun. So let's go through Alec Rahl, see if he can carry on his momentum here. With some Flagellants in the front line, looks like them and the Tattered Souls, mixed in with Spearmen and Sigma Suns. So a few Unbreakable units and some Spearmen to hold the line as well. We have a huge core of Pistoliers here, 3 units, in fact, I know 2, and then 2 units of Outriders, one of which has the grenade launcher, so I think is a criminally underused unit. They do so much damage, so a nice, fast skirmish core here, some Unbreakable troops in the front line and Spearmen to help back up. We have 1 mortar as well. And over on the left-hand flank, we have Zintler's Reichsguard, very cool seeing these guys in action, as well as 2 units of Empire Knights. Let's see what these guys' colour scheme is. I'm assuming it's a bit special. Yeah, these guys look pretty damn cool. Look quite like, medieval knights. We then have a Bright Wizard coming in with Burning Head. Is that Cascade and Flycoke? Yeah. Let's have a little look. It is indeed. And also Fireball. I need to learn to trust myself on those little tips down there. We also have Boris Todbringer, the cheap and more cheerful version of Carl, with his Rune Fang as well. So let's go through the... Ooh. Oh, that's the same unit. Cool. Now let's go on to the Greenskins. They also have a bit of a skirmish core. We have 1, 2, 3 Goblin Wolf Riders In the trees over here, we have some more Goblin Wolf riders as well. These guys just the standard ones. They are the combat variety. Can be very good for chasing down the Pistoliers and so forth. Up in the skies with Azag the Slaughterer, who's been very careful. Boris will beat the crap out of him, but Azag, okay, well, actually pretty decent duelist because he does deliver poison as well. He's coming in with a Spirit Leech and I want to say Doom and Darkness. Nope, Fate of Buna. This is why I have to double check. But with War, he could do some decent damage to Boris. Also constant Spirit Leeches and so forth. Now for his main army, we do have Savage Orc Biggins mixed in with Orc Boys, some Black Orcs, right around Night Goblins and Orc Boys. So a nice mixed front line. We have 2 Nasty Skulkers protecting triple Doom Diver Catapult. And these guys are going to have to get line of sight, but they will do fantastic work. Doom Diver Catapult, very good artillery piece in general. We also have some Savage Orc Arrow Boys and Rusty Arrows. Savage Orc Arrow Boys, nice pick, because if you do get some light cav on them, they can still put up a decent fight and fight back. Rusty Arrows, of course, have that armor sundering, as we can see here. So, poison melee as well, that's pretty nice. But armor sundering here minuses your armor by 30, allowing those Savage Orc Arrow Boys to do decent damage. Looks like we also have 1 unit right in the back there. That is, in fact, the Goblin Wolf Riders. So, this is what I'm talking about. Big hill blocking both players' forces. So, these Goblin Wolf Riders whipping around this left-hand flank are now going to reveal everything to the Goblins. And will actually allow their Doom Divers, probably once in range, to start firing as they can loop those shots up and over the hill. But also, White and Mortar is quite a nice pick as well. Getting some decent damage in early on. Is that shot going to hit as well? Very nice damage. And should do some decent work. Mortar, of course, can also fire up over top of the hill. Goblin Wolf Rider going to have a little peek, probably see what is in these trees here, and the Wolf Riders trying to trade fire here with the Outriders. They will probably trade effectively because they are a little bit cheaper, I believe. Getting some decent work, but nice dodging by Owlek Ral there, not taking too much damage at all. And the Wolf Riders a little bit more beaten and bruised here. Doom Diver Catapults are now active, shooting those shots over top. What are they targeting? Ooh, looks like just for now they're going to be hitting some poor spearmen, although they're in quite a nice thin formation and the hill is mucking up those shots quite nicely. Probably needs to switch those onto the grenade launchers and get those guys off the battlefield, in my opinion, or the Pistoliers perhaps as well. And as you can see, yeah, the Doom Divers are now swooping in, and these guys can fly a little bit and correct their course in the sky, so they're fairly accurate. Doing some decent damage to these Pistoliers now. I love that he's keeping these Goblin Wolf Riders in reserve as well, popping in late game. Looks like Azag has taken a little bit of damage, but in retaliation, looks like he did pop a Spirit Leech on Boris as well. I'm assuming a Fireball came in to hit Azag, or perhaps some long-range skirmish. And Doom Diver's doing a decent job here, coming in and trying to target down those Outriders. Boom. Okay, little bits of work here. Unfortunately, this Mortar is now slightly unprotected here, if he is aware. Chose one, can bring these Goblin Wolf Riders over here and just finish that guy off nice and quick. Empire Knight's going to be really key here into hammering home and getting on top of these Doom Diver Catapults. Who do have 2 Nasty Skulkers protecting them. Those guys can also get run over by Cav if they're not careful. Azag going for a very risky charge there onto some Spearmen, just to do some damage to the front line. And a Fireball coming in to chase him off, although it looks like it is going to alter its course up into the air. And it is a bit of a swing and a miss. Oh, but it's... What? It completely tracks around on top of him. That Fireball wants to hit. How long will that go for? It looks like it's losing speed a little bit there. But it is still tracking him down. That is ridiculous. But he does manage to escape. Really nice target here by Savage Orc Arrow Boys on top of the Flagellants who do not have armor. In retaliation, Goblin Wolf Riders are getting decimated now by those grenade launchers, and a huge left-hand flank by the Zintler's Reichsguard, or led by them, with the Empire Knights are coming around to try and get on top of those Doom Diver Catapults. We have a nice burning head coming down these Orc Boys as well, just destroying those guys down below half health, and they also catch the Rusty Arrows as well. It looks like all of the Zintler's Reichsguard, though, have been pinned up by 1 unit of Orc Boys, which is really bad here. Fate of Buna doing fantastic work, and a load of fire coming in as well. There's a good opportunity there to kind of bring 2 of the Knights up and around and start putting pressure on these Doom Diver Catapults, who at the moment have had free reign completely up to 22, 18 and 20 kills. Black Hawks are going to be a menace in the front line. Pistoliers and Outriders really need to start focusing those guys down a bit, although they've got quite thick armour. And of course the war has been popped, turning these guys into killer machines. The Rusty Arrows, though, for some reason find themselves on the front line, are going to start getting run over by Pistoliers. But with the war popped and some Goblin Wolf Riders coming to rally, actually managed to hold and beat back some Pistoliers very, very kind of well there, and quite easily in the end. Looks like the Zintlers do rally, but down to just 29 models. And in the distance, that deep reserve of Wolf Riders used perfectly there to hop on top of the mortar and shut it down. But some spearmen are there to protect as well. Up on the high ground, we do have Pistolers being chased off by Goblin Wolf Riders. And it looks like the skirmish game was fairly even, maybe slightly won here by the Greenskins, just because of the sheer amount they had. Nasty Skulkers do drop down their smoke bomb and a Spirit Leech. Azak is coming in for the sniper of Orc Boys, but a nice Burning Head in retaliation does in fact help terrify some Nasty Skulkers off. That Burning Head is going to keep going through Doom Diver crew as well. And unfortunately, Boris has now been kind of clucked in the clutches here of the Greenskins, as he's been jammed in by Orc Boys, Wolf Riders, and Azak, as I said before, is a decent melee combatant, especially when it popped in there. Wait, it looks like the Doom Diver Catapult crew is even popping in as well, trying to pin him in, and done a decent amount of work there. Azak, with his little cronies there, does decent work. However, now the Empire Knights have a bit of free range, and they've popped on top of the Doom Diver Catapults, and two of those guys are now forced off. We do have a Spirit Leech popped on top of Boris Togbringer. The rest of the fight is quite messy, with archers helping out in the front line, which is pretty crazy, and the Doom Divers are slowly coming offline. Do the Empire still have enough about them to win this battle? I think Boris surviving is going to be super key here, otherwise I don't think the Empire Knights will have just about enough about them to really carry this game. One Doom Diver Catapult is still active, getting some decent work done as well. Savage Orc Boys are isolated here. Empire Knights could come in and finish them off, but some Nasty Skulkers trying their best to pin those guys in. Azak is just not letting Boris out his side, but if he can get some buffs on him, he could probably turn and actually fight Azak here, or at least get the Knights over, rally the Knights over, pin him in, because Boris is a better combatant, especially that Rune Fang getting that replenishment. And Azak's faster, he's just going to keep catching you. Boris, though, has taken some huge hits there, and you have some Goblin Wolf Riders over to assist, but at the same time, Ant Riders firing in as well. It's going to be a very pivotal fight up here on the high ground. It looks like Boris as well, getting a Cascade and Flyer Cloak on him, up in his melee defense and armor piercing. Azak needs to get out of here quite fast, and he does turn to start to run. Greenskins starting to crumble after a very dominant early display. Very healthy unit of Black Orcs, though, clearing up all the trash down here. Rusty Arrows getting some decent fire into the back of Sigma's Sons. Nasty Skulkers trying their best to chase down Empire Knights, who are just getting some nice cycle charging, will help finish those guys off. And it looks like Azak has now been the one retreating here from Boris Togbringer. Nice rally of Greenskins down here, though. Goblin Wolf Riders chasing off Outriders. These are Goblin Wolf Riders probably trying to pin in and catch them down. Zintler's Reichsguard, though, could come in and assist. This Brightwood has been very pesky and sticking on the outskirts for the most part. Mortar was completely forced off, but finally these Goblin Wolf Riders are going to leave the Spearmen in the dust, leave them down there, and they've got such a long trek to get back to the battlefield to effect it. Boris probably wants to finish off Azak as quick as possible, otherwise we're going to get some nasty Spirit Leeches come in and really turn the tide against Boris even more. Tattered Souls doing the best, but only 3 left here, going to clear up the Black Orcs and Savage Orcs, or free them up, sorry, to move on to the more juicy targets. That's a very deadly core of Greenskins left there. Very well played to both players so far. The amount of micro, you can see how stretched the battlefield is right now, and there's a lot of things to keep on top of. Nasty Skulk's going to be falling back as well to this blob, just pulling his forces in again, as he was getting a little bit kind of separated and run down by all of these knights. As I'm going to be floating over here, probably trying to cycle charge and finish off the Sigma Sons, rally all the Greenskins as these guys can't escape. I say these Empire Knights as well would be a decent play. Doom Diver Catapult is getting back to its artillery piece here, and that could be really nice in some late game damage in as well. Rusty Arrows taking a nasty volley here from the grenade launchers. We're up to 124 kills. That is pretty damn disgusting. Black Orcs going in up against Spearmen, and these Spearmen instantly break when they realise, what are we doing? We're charging Black Orcs. And that's what happens. You get absolutely decapitated, and arrows plunge into them as well for good measure. Those guys do completely shatter now. Balance of power still very even in this game, as I'm trying to isolate some Empire Knights and finish them off. Sigma Sons taking some arrows to the face, but you know, they are the Sons of Sigma. This is what they were designed for. Raising their shields, they want to probably wait for the Empire Knights to come and support, and maybe do a tiny bit of hammer and anvil, as these guys will hold. But at the same time, Arrows trying to get some value on top of Azak, doing some decent work overall, but they are now taking fire from the Rusty Arrows. Boris, though, healed up huge amounts now, trying to snipe out the Nasty Skulkers so they can't use that smoke bomb in a more key area. And those guys are in fact terror out now, but for his trouble, he is taking some damage. Another fireball coming on Azak, a bit of a swing and a miss again, and that one isn't going to arc down round ridiculously. Azag down to just 300 health, and that does in fact break him. That is huge, as he still could bring in Spirit Leeches and so forth to damage Boris, and he's probably gone. He is very low on health. He's got a little way there. He might get enough distance to rally, who knows. But now, Savage Orcs and Drossiers have no one to protect them. Zintler's Reichsguard coming in for a nice rear attack here. Being a bit caught up on the Doom Diver, unfortunately. And equally, the Rusty Arrows are taking huge losses now as the Arrows charge into combat. Black Orcs are the only thing really holding the Greenskins together. But I don't think it's going to be enough. Nice Skulkers need to pop a smoke bomb if they have it now. And Azag is gone from the battlefield. I think that is going to be GG's. Super close game there. Black Orcs trying to hold the line best they can, but Chosen is going to bow out there. What a game. What a game. That was insane. It looked like the Greenskins had it early on. Boris just managed to escape though and heal up. And because they couldn't finish off Boris there, he managed to rally, being a big presence on the battlefield, and help take down Azag. I actually quite like Chosen One's build, but eventually those Outriders and Knights managed to get into the back line. 150 kill on this unit as well. And Outriders with grenade launchers, I really like that pick against Greenskins, up to 125. I let that RT cheat. GG. That was really back and forth. So we are going to be moving on now to Karak Ungor. I also think there has been some ridiculous RNG of Azag Boris. It was pretty close, but it did definitely turn around against Azag there. So let's update a score. Alec Ral up to 2. So this could be the final game. He could try and finish him off here. However, I'm assuming Chosen One's going to be bringing out his favourite Skaven, and with still 2 bans, he should get a pretty good matchup in his favour. Karak Ungor, a pretty open map, I believe. I am hopefully picking the right one. There is a lot of cracks around. Karak Ungor, Karak Asgul, Karak Drawn, all of these fun ones. Empire always pulling it back like this. Empire very good at kind of sustainability late game, I find. Let's have a little see what you guys thought of that battle. Just GG's. Yeah, that Cav collapse just... It looked still fairly even, but with Azag going and then the Cav collapsing on top of those archers, finding the little gaps there, really nice micro by Alric there, it just shattered them, and the Black Orcs just could not be everywhere at once to protect their little fellows. Yeah, when the game goes for a long time, it helps the Empire, definitely. What's the map? Karak Ungor. I still have MP. Okay. Ah. Leave and join lobby again. Okay, I've re-switched it, so hopefully that's worked. There's a bug where the opponent can't see the map, unfortunately. This helps. Let's see if that worked. So here's banning Vampirates and Beastmen. And of course, going Skaven. So Daniel, if you're still in the chat, I'm sure he'll come back and watch later anyway. Your favourite boys are being picked. I believe I updated the scoreboard to make it 2-1. Yes, I did. Perfect, perfect. Let's see who Alec Ral goes. Have a little sip of my drink. This could be the final game of the stream, or we could have 2 more if Chosen One manages to drag this back with his favourite Skaven. I quite like saying High Elves against Skaven. Lots of cheap and cheerful archery fire to pop in to just tear apart people, and a lot of swift and cheap cav as well to break into that back line. But I know a lot of people like Skaven in that matchup as well, so it can really bounce back and forth. Skaven overall, really nice place. When they first got released, they probably one of the weaker factions, or at least one of the harder ones to learn. But as time has gone on, and they've had more DLCs, they've become a lot more powerful, a lot more picked as well by people. I see them a lot more now. And overall, very fun and deadly faction. Looks like Alec Ral just contemplating who he's going to be here. There is no rush. Double check. No one's asked me any questions. No, looks like we're all good. Chaos! Interesting pick here. Marauders can do absolute work. I expect to see most likely the Giant Chicken Lord as well for that missile resistance, making him much harder to snipe out. Although Archaon could do bits as well. He can easily outduel any of the Skaven Lords. Burning Head and so forth could be powerful as well here. Oh, Alec Rowell ready instantly. Looks like they both had looks like they both had an army ready straight away. Chose one, hop in. Good to go. So, Alec Rowell has a Chaos build to design to take down Skaven, because he hopped straight in. So I'm interested to see how this goes. Skaven can play in about 10 ways. That is true. Yes, Dan, you are still here. Nice, nice. Well, chose one trying to do you a favour here and get some representation for his favourite boys. A very open playing map here with a few hills, a few shot blockers as well, which you can use to attack forward. Or just a Chaos Spawn build. I quite like this idea over here, so we'll go through it first here. So for the Chaos in the front line, we have a mixture of Chaos Marauders, Forsaken, more Chaos Marauders, and a couple more Forsaken as well. So nice mixture. Forsaken, huge damage dealers, a little bit squishy themselves, but they will tear through the Skaven very quickly. Marauders will do a fantastic job against the cheap and cheerful troops as well. And look how wide he can go, surrounding any artillery builds that do come in. Now, here's a couple units of Chaos Spawn here. 1, 2, 3, in fact, no regiment round, unfortunately, but these guys are unbreakable, which is super good against Skaven. One, they cause, surely they cause fear as well, right? Yes, they cause fear, good against the low leadership of the Skaven, and at the same time, they are so sticky and annoying to deal with. We also have some Aspiring Champions going for a bit of a vanguard there, which is quite funny. We have 2 Feral Manticores up in the sky, 3 Marauder Horsemasters for nice harass, and also a nice counter in case there's any Hell Pit Abominations and so forth for that long range damage. We have a Chaos Sorcerer as of Fire, Burning Head, and Flaming Sword of Ruin. And we have Prince Sigvald the Magnificent, possibly making his debut in Death Before Dishonour, I can't quite remember. But very sticky dude overall. Auric armor, giving him that hit point replenishment. He also has quite a large amount of melee defense and so forth, so he's just there to survive. You can't really snipe him, which of course Skaven are normally very kind of adept at doing. Now for the Skaven, we have 3 Night Runners up front, going to do a little bit of harass. We have a ton of Skaven slaves, like a ton in the front line to absorb that initial charge. And then we have Council Guard, Regiment Renowned Stormvermin, unbreakable themselves here. We then have Clan Rats, Ishig's Triads, Ixhas, there we go, Ixhas Triads, who are very good, will do decent up against armor troops as well because they're Weeping Blades, also anti-large. More Clan Rats and Clan Rats with Spears, the back more as well. And then we have 3 units of Rat Ogres as well to try and protect their smaller rat cousins. We have the Teeth Breakers, Regiment Renowned Rattling Gunners. If they can hop on top of some of these Manticores and stuff, they will do ridiculous amounts of damage. We have an Assassin and Lord Skrulk coming in, of course, with the Liber Bonicus and Rod of Corruption. He needs to be careful not to be sniped out, though. The Share Manticores pop on top of him can do some horrific damage. Night Runners are advancing, trying to get some decent shots away, but Chaos Marauders will eat this for breakfast. They do have their shields. However, the Forsaken are not shielded still. Oh, got it. Oh, no, those are Chaos Marauders. Where are Forsaken? They all over there. Forsaken. Still 85 armor, but no shields. I have a unit back here as well. Night Runners, though, bit of a pest. Not quite as good as Chameleon Skinks, but cheaper and more cheerful. They're a pain in the arse to hunt down, of course. They do poison, which slows you down, and they're just pretty quick geezers overall. Chaos Marauders taking a little bit of pounding at the start here. So just good luck, have fun being popped in the chat. These guys, yeah, just quite happy here just to soften up some troops. Chaos gone incredibly wide here, and the poor little rats are cowering in the corner here. Now, the problem about doing a build like this, Skaven, very low leadership. Look how close to the edge of the board he is. Not line camping, I think there's clearly enough room to swoop down around both flanks. But if these guys break, which they quite often do, they don't have that far to travel. Rattling Gunners have been pushed up here. Concealment Bomb keeping them stalked and unspotable. Going to be trying to get some nice damage onto the Marauder Horsemasters. As you can see, they are starting to unleash their shots, but they do more damage the closer the opponent is. These guys are quite on the edge of their range, so not taking too much damage there. A little bit. Also slows them down as well, which is quite nice. And yeah, decent fire overall. The Chaos are starting to swarm, and I don't know if the Skaven have enough to deal with this amount of Marauders, Chaos Spawn, and so forth. We do have issued Triads, and also the Council Guard to do that anti-large damage, and maybe the Rat Ogres can help out in the front line quite effectively. Manticore thought about charging into combat against the Night Runners, but thought better of it, as he has been slowed down. Nope, once again popped in, just trying to force these guys off a little bit quicker. God, I can't speak today. Iksha's Triads are moving forward though, getting ready to deal with that Manticore if it gets a little bit too close. And over in the distance, Rat Ogres and Skaven Slaves being used to force wide the Mortal Horsemen. We are getting a summon here of Clan Rats to pin down these Chaos Marauders, mess up their charge as well, make the charge a little bit more kind of scattered. Skaven Slaves taking the charge from the Chaos Marauders, not where they want to be, but Clan Rats will be pushing through to assist here. And over on the far side, Marauder Horsemasters collapsing in on Skaven Slaves, trying to break them and force them off. Rat Ogres taking a huge amount of work as well. And is this a gigantic burning head coming in? It is, and this is going to do huge work to all these Gutter Runners and Council Guard. That is a disaster. Look how much health these guys lost. A third of their health gone on a very elite troop there. In the front line, we do have the Triads running in on top of the Chaos Spawn. They should be able to carve them up quite nicely. Rat Ogres also come to support, but Prince Sigvald the Magnificent coming over, and he will do a decent job taking down those Triads and helping swing that combat back in his favour. Teethbreakers deleting a Feral Manticore. That huge amount of damage in, instantly going to break that guy very quickly there. Do have Clan Rats spinning out to the side, trying to protect this flank, but it's not looking too good for the Skaven. They're losing pretty much on all fronts. Rat Ogres have popped over on top of the Forsaken to help out some Clan Rats, but at no time is it ever a good idea to count out Chosen One, and he still has the Teethbreakers incredibly healthy, sniping out and doing decent targets. If they can grind down the Chaos Spawn, we do have rival Talisman pops for them right now, that would be a big win and help here. Looks like they may be spinning to target down at the second Chaos Feral Manticore and force that off the field as fast as possible. Yeah, huge damage coming in as Rat Ogres also chase that guy down. And he did try and escape but got rampaged by the sheer amount of firepower. These Teethbreakers are putting in absolute work now, holding this Skaven force together. Front line, they have started to rally a bit as the Clan Rats have popped in and the Council Guard holding the line very valiantly here. Assassin also going to work on Prince Sigvald here. But at the same time, there's a ton of Chaos Spawn and Marauder Horsemasters active. They have finally popped into the back line on top of the Teethbreakers, which is a bit of a disaster. These Rat Ogres need to turn around and hop on and protect these guys. Oh, we have some Rat Ogres popping in the back already. Going to shut down those guys very effective here. We have some Skaven units as well on the periphery who need to come back. But the front line is really starting to buckle now and fall back. Another great Burning Head pops in on top of these Night Runners, getting some fantastic damage down on them. In distance, Forsaken will chew up Clan Rat Spearmen as well. Lord Skrog fleeing for his life here, going to try and get behind these summoned Clan Rats. Prince Sigvald tried to chase him down here, but there was plenty of Skaven around to pop on top of him, including this Assassin, who's decided to go toe-to-toe here. And will do a decent job. Prince Sigvald, though, is a decent melee combatant himself, quite a good duelist. And the Teethbreakers have been protected here, which is vital. Although there is more Chaos Marauders popping up to try and shut those guys down. These guys are unleashing a volley. Oh, no, they decided to move. They unfortunately were trying to unleash a volley on the Chaos Spawn, who are fighting the Triads, which is not a good matchup. Once again, we have Horsemasters and Chaos Marauders. Everything is trying to come in and shut down these Teethbreakers, who have done so much HP damage over the course of battle. And Chaos Marauders are now starting to buckle and fall off. And I feel like the tide has turned. And Skaven starting to get the upper hand here. Lord Stroke popping in as well on Prince Sigvald, who does have Assassin's Trophies popped on him. So he's going to be getting beaten down quite quickly now. But unfortunately, Lord Stroke needs to be careful. Blessed Filth is being popped on him, which is, I believe, a poison to enemies, though. So Prince Sigvald is being nuked here rather effectively, as his Chaos Marauders do abandon him here. Teethbreakers popping up over here, trying to get some damage on Marauder Horsemasters, but they bad idea, lads. They are going to start getting run over instead. But with the Prince down, I think the Skaven have this. It was really dicey early on when his front line really collapsed hard, and I thought those Teethbreakers would get shut down, but fantastic backline micro here by Chosen One, keeping them in the action, tore apart both Manticores and did really good work onto the Chaos Spawn. Speaking of Chaos Spawn, they are fighting, but they are fighting Council Guard. They will do decent damage to these little Rat Boys, but the Rat Boys will do very good damage back. We do have the Chaos Sorcerer Fire keeping the Chaos in the action for now. But unfortunately, Prince Sigvald is getting escorted off the field here by an Assassin, and up in the high ground, Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats did rally to chase off some units here, and army losses are setting in! Fantastic play there, and this is perfect here. The game is going to the 5th and final round here. GG's all round. We do just have some Chaos Spawn dying somewhere early. Down a unit of 2 and a unit of 6. But there is the concede. What a game. I really like Chosen One's build. When I first saw it, I thought it was going to struggle up against the Chaos here. And the Chaos Spawn, Philomance Core, super good build here for kind of overrunning gun lines and so forth. But just going with the Teeth Breakers and just focusing on protecting 1 or 2 range units is so much easier than multiple units, which I think a lot of newer players kind of fall into the trap of. And you saw, if you can protect the Teeth Breakers, look how much damage they did. But if he had gone for a Warp Lightning Cannon, plus Giselles, plus more ranged troops, then none of them get any value because they get overrun so quickly. GG! Blind picks it is. So we will be playing on Kelp and Coal Dust for the final map. What a set of games. This has been pretty damn crazy by these guys. Let's see what you guys were saying about that. Forsaken plus Spawn is terrifying flight armor, indeed. You thought Alaric was going to go for the Kolak Death Ball. Seems like Clan Wars have swapped Warlords. They have indeed. You've gone 30 seconds. The Chaos just slowly ran out of steam. The Teeth Breakers did so much damage. Okay, Chosen One has sent me his list. Perfect. Just check on Discord actually quick. They haven't sent me messages. Awesome. Okay, let's just wait on Alaric Ral. Don't think Alaric's messaged me on Steam yet. No, looks like we're all good. But yeah, the Rattling Guns honestly carried to that. They took away both the Manticores, which freed up some of their backline pressure. Oh, this is dodgy matchup. And then they just managed to grind out. It was really well played ARL. Off war. I think this is really unfortunate for Alaric Ral. Wood Elves, I think, have a big disadvantage up against High Elves. Lothar and Seagull are so good in this matchup. Fairly capable of defending up against Cav and so forth themselves, and trade very effectively up against Wood Elf Archery just because they have those shields. This is going to be Elf Civil War. Oh boy, the death round. It is indeed. Oh, scoreboard. Thank you, Stormrunner. You hero. Hero of the people. 2-2 going into the final. Man, I should have gone Tomb Kings. Wait, Chosen One doesn't like this matchup, perhaps. It's to dwarfs and this lovely map. I know this map's a little controversial. I quite like it. I think it's fun to throw into tournaments and relatively balanced. Can catch you off guard, though. There's lots of skirmishing you can do and a lot of defensive posturing people can do up on top of these mountains here. Of course, there's impassable terrain, but we'll get into that details when we actually hop into the map. You say High Elves are much cooler than Wood Elves? No! Have you seen Wild Riders or a Forest Dragon? They look hella cool. Firebirds. Yeah, Firebirds are nasty here. Again, though, they can be sniped out by archers and so forth if you net them and like Waywatcher them and stuff. But fire damage up against Tree King, Durfee, all that nasty stuff. And just generally, they're powerful. Also, of course, they can drop fire poops, which everyone loves to see. High Elves don't have Orion. That is true. What's more glorious than an Orion Wild Rider mix of Dryad, like Vanguard Rush build? Nothing, I tell you. Nothing. That might be the way to go here as well. Just trying to overrun the High Elves. Cool. Checking Discord, make sure there's no questions or anything. Looks like we're all good. So, who is your money on? Yeah, you think balance map? I agree, Stormrunner. A lot of people I see complain because basically someone will go dwarfs or something, camp up here and like block off the entry points, but you can still wrap around, and at the same time you have the option to go defensive as well. Especially when it's blind picks, it's a lot more kind of, you know, hit and miss on what people do. I think Chosen One was expecting some Dowie, so went high elves, which are a fantastic counter against Dowie. White Lions, brilliant in that matchup. Cheap archers to take out artillery. Equal Bullfrogs do a good job as well. So a bit of mind games coming in, but elf on elf violence. I think this favours the high elves pretty hard though. But we'll see. I've seen it won by both sides. I mean, I've seen Wood Elves beat Bretonia before, so anything can happen. And both these players top tier as well, so you can always expect a good game. Vanguard Rush Build is probably the way to go, Palpatine. I agree. Well, that's what I want to see at least. Wild Riders, Orion, just trying to override and kind of push through, overload parts of the High Elf force, get into that back line nice and quick, shut it down, and then grind out the front line with Dryads and so forth. Because Dryads can do work here. They can tear apart Spearmen relatively quickly, have a good fight against White Lions, and you're probably not going to bring elite infantry with High Elves in this matchup because of the fear of Weight Watchers and so forth. Nice to see so many people watching though. Welcome, welcome. This is the final game, a hotly contested final here, between Alaric Ral and Chosen One. So yeah, if you're enjoying, please do consider hitting a like button and subscribe and stick around. We're super close to 200 subscribers, I think. What's the count? Can someone let me know? There will be some form of special stream when I get 200 subs. Maybe an auto-gen tournament could be a good laugh. Or an auto-gen King of the Hill, where the factions are randomized as well. That could be quite cool. Yeah, feel free to stick around and hang out. And of course, link to my Discord and Patreon just down below. Patreon in case you want to support in any other way, and Discord if you want to join the community, get involved in tournaments like this and whatnot. Cool, cool. Chosen One is ready. Just waiting on the mighty Alaric Ral as he's doing some calculations in his brain, no doubt, trying to figure out how to overcome the High Elves, their pesky brethren. 2 more to 200. Push! Push! Just 2 to go. 198 subs. Very nice. Probably everyone watching probably is a sub, so... But if anyone's not, press that button. Do it. Gondor has called for aid. Will Rohan answer is the question. But yes, very interesting. We've had some crazy good games today. Shout out to everyone who played. Both Stormrunner and Palpatine pitting on good displays in round 1, and then these two absolute champs here, 2-all. And some of the games have been so tight as well and hotly contested. That Greenskin one, for example, swung on its head so fast, and even at the end there, Chaos pushing through, but just about running out of steam with some really nice backline protection and micro by Chosen One, dragging that game through for the Skaven. And whoever wins this will get entered into the season final, which would be quite funny because Chosen One's already in the season 2 final, which needs to take place. We've had to delay that, unfortunately, because the mighty Lord Zeus was busy for a couple of weeks. So we went on with season 3 anyway, so we're going to go back and do that. But if he qualifies for this, he'll be against Flying Taco in the final, and he's also against Flying Taco in Season 2, which is quite funny. But A-Move is in this one, where he's not in the previous, so of course it will be a nice mix of different players. He will give 200 sub, 200 quid. I'm not sure who he is. I assume you're talking about some mythical creature, because that's not me, I'm afraid. Yeah, if you're not here, but if you're here but not sub, Death Master Sniggish will come for you tonight. Also, when you go to bed, I will be underneath your bed. I will be there, waiting. You're going to look down, this is going to be a duck staring you square in the eyes, wearing a little hat, a little army hat, and a pistol. So I'm not going to use a pistol, I'm using a knife. With a bread, like a bread knife. The weapon of all ducks. So, Kelp and Kodos, here we go. I'm excited. I am very excited to see who comes out on top. It's been one of the best sets of games we've seen on the channel for quite a while. Well, I suppose we always have good hotly contested tournaments, but this one has been something special indeed. So let's have a look at Alric Ral and his Wood Elves. Let's see if we can gain the momentum back and take this game. So we are seeing some Wildwood Rangers. I really like this pick here. You don't often see them. Big damage dealers and of course have Forest Stalker. And they've mixed them in with Eternal Guard. So we in fact have 4 units of Wildwood Rangers. Insane pick here. Don't see those guys often at all. Looks like they are deploying up in the high ground here. So 4 units of those guys all hidden. Looks like they're going to be mixed in with a couple of units of Eternal Guard. We have 3 of those boys, in fact. We also have the Wardens of Sifrol. So another unit of Wildwood Rangers, taking the max amount he can. These guys have anti-large as well. An interesting pick. They have Stalk, I believe. They have Stalk or Vanguard, sorry. Yeah, they have Stalk and Vanguard. Very nice. Also, Guardians of the Wildwood, plus 12 bonus versus large and charge defense versus large. Super cool pick you don't see too often. Now, for the range core, we do have some Glade Guard. 4 units, in fact. Another unit you barely see because they have so many good, Deepwood Scouts, Way Watchers, and so forth. We also have 2 units of Way Watchers as well. What a build! Some pretty crazy stuff coming in by the Wood Elves. And for a Lord, we have an Ancient Tree Man coming in with Earthblood. And is that Awakening Wood? Awakening of the Wood as well. I really like this build. I haven't seen a ton of these units in a very long time. Should be interesting to see how they play. Now in the back for the Chosen One, we do have some Illyrian Reavers who are going to be needing to use some really good micro early on to escape the situation. They're not in the best place here. The rest of the army gone very cheap and cheerful in the front line with Spearmen. They will get eaten alive by those Wildwood Rangers, but those guys don't have much armor, so these guys will at least trade some damage back. We have 3 Shadow Warriors as well, and we're trying to contest the archery game here. We have 2 Dragon Princes who are just so nasty in this matchup. In fact, 3 Dragon Princes. Heavy cav, the Wood Elves really struggle to deal with. But if they get pinned in place by the Eternal Guard and so forth, the armor piercing of the Wildwood Rangers will tear those guys apart pretty quickly. For a Lord, we also have Alariel the Radiant coming in with Star of Avalon, Earthblood, Forest Protection, and what's that last thing of hers called? Oh, Stave of Avalon as well. Of course, Arcane Conduit as well, as you would expect. So, super fun build. The Dark Riders are going to have... Oh, Dark Riders? The Dragon Riders are going to have to do a lot of damage here to really push through and start running over the Wildwood Rangers. But they need to be careful. These guys pack a massive punch back. They're huge armor piercing damage dealers. And also, of course, we have the Regiment of Renowned version, which... where are they deployed? They're around here somewhere, who can be very nasty indeed. Oh, here they are, because they come in with that nice anti-large as well. Cool. So the High Elves are going to be advancing now. Looks like we're having just good luck, have fun. All good to see. Now these guys hidden. They are indeed. That's so clutch. Because you'd assume they're not here. You might accidentally come by and see them. Which of course he won't want to happen. But if he doesn't see these guys, they can pop in the late game on top of some Glade Riders or Way Watchers and really shut those guys down quite nicely. Some early shots coming in from the Way Watchers onto the Dragon Princes. Perfect target for them. Shadow Warriors are going to advance those, try and counter skirmish as much as possible. Unleashing a couple of shots now. And they do indeed find their mark. A tiny bit of HP coming down, but nothing too crazy. These Illyrian Reavers have been spotted, so they're going to be falling back and wrapping around a little bit. The Wood Elves are trying to force their way out, so they're not taking too much of a defensive approach, but they do have 2 Glade Guard up here taking the high ground. A load of deadly shots coming by those Way Watchers, trading very effectively up against the Shadow Warriors, who are getting an Earthblood. Let's see, how many models have they lost? Not too many models, so that Earthblood fairly, probably a good play there overall. The Wood Elves are sort of getting pushed back to this clump, and he still hasn't realised these Illyrian Reavers are lying in wait for anyone who gets too close. Way Watchers firing Spearmen, not the targets they want to be hitting. Does do damage, but these guys are shielded and relatively cheap. We do have some Eternal Guard rushing forward to try and pin these Spearmen back and hold them in place, but Dragon Prince is going to be having none of that. Coming in for a charge, try and floor their way through, and no doubt pop on top of these fairly undefended Glade Guard as well. Now, I'd keep pushing these guys through now and shut them down as fast as possible. Shadow Warriors are pushing up as well, trying to trade with Glade Guard up here. And in distance, Illyrian Reavers have been caught, looks like, by the Wardens of Sifril. No, they managed to escape just about. And this last unit being hidden up in the skies here. These guys have managed to escape. Dragon Prince is coming over here, probably lurking to get some smashes here, but they need to be aware these guys do have that nice anti-large bonus. Unfortunately, Shadow Warriors are getting kind of nuked here from two sides. A ton of fire coming in, doing really nice work. Spearmen, though, are getting on top of these Glade Guard, going to be able to shut them down very effectively. Dragon Princes need to get round there to help out as well. Spearmen pushing back, trying to force off the Glade Guard. And Dragon Princes now coming crashing in on this flank, do some decent damage. But an Awakening Wood does a tiny bit of damage to Dragon Princes, but nothing special there. Not too much damage on their charge either. It messed up their charge quite bad. And these Illyrian Reavers are going to be caught here. No, they're just about going to escape by the skin of their teeth. And now they have a nice pocket of troops to run into the back. The second unit can probably start to collapse as well. Actually, I'll bring that second unit over here, shut down below for these Glade Guard, although it looks like the Dragon Princes may be on it already. Again, look how stretched this battlefield is. The micro must be an absolute nightmare. Dragon Prince is doing very good here up into the Wild Rangers, but quickly getting out of there before the Wardens can shut them down and getting into this nice soft underbelly of the Wood Elves as Waywatchers go flying in all directions. And because he's deployed so close to the edge, these guys are no doubt going to be forced off quite quickly. Wild Rangers trying to stay in here though. They will do decent AP damage to the Dragon Princes and a massive heal off going down here. Both forces pop Earth Bloods. The Wood Elves going for an extended one, however. Waywatchers also taking a huge amount of damage here as Dragon Princes come in and close in around the Ancient Treeman. On this secondary skirmish up on the left, Dragon Princes did get into the back line. They now need to switch targets to the Glade Guard and shut those guys down as well. Elsewhere, Wild Rangers easily beaten up Spearmen on all fronts. I think after some initial engagements for the Wood Elves there, doing some really nice damage to Shadow Warriors and protecting their back line, I think the tide is starting to turn in the Wood Elf favour perhaps. But there's a lot of anti-large and armor-piercing troops here which are tearing apart these Dragon Princes. Chosen One needs to be careful to get these guys out of here. Maybe a Star of Avalon can help keep him in the fight a bit longer. He is starting to lose quite a few of his troops here. Doesn't want to get blobbed down in a fight. Wants to cycle charge and try and pick off these isolated pockets of Wood Elf resistance. And the Wood Elves actually is still fairly even. Wood Elves are winning in multiple fronts now. Dragon Princes very beaten up as well. Bring Dragon Princes round, chase off these guys here, force them off, win this engagement, take down these isolated Wildwood Rangers here as well, and then focus on the blob fight once you have the balance of power pushed in your favour. So, Illyrian Reavers going to be used over here, chase off these Glade Guard no doubt as well, allow the Dragon Princes to come back to the main fight. We have very healthy Eternal Guard, very healthy Wildwood Rangers as well. Looks like down the low ground though, Dragon Princes trying to get a nice rear attack. Fortunately, that Awakening Wood's a little bit too late to mess up the charge, and Eternal Guard taking a bit of a pounding there. Shadow Warriors are starting to fall back, and they are perfect units to deal with Wildwood Rangers. These guys incredibly squishy, only 40 armor overall. These guys need to start focusing these guys down and tearing them apart. Dragon Princes coming over here, nice sandwich on the Eternal Guard who will be completely forced off now. Dragon Princes falling back wherever possible, trying to get some cycle charging in, and nice damage now been dealt to these Wildwood Rangers. Although, where is the Wardens of Sifril? These guys really need to be a focus of attention as well, as they can do so easily with these Dragon Princes. Looks like he's moving up. Okay, no, I thought he was moving up to target the Ancient Treeman, which might be a misplay there. He really should just target down these Wild Rangers and finish them off. In the distance, we do have some Glade Guard coming back to the fray. Probably a good idea just to take those beat up Illyrian Reavers to go finish those guys off. Looks like he wants them in the front line. I suppose those guys have a huge trek before they get into the main fight. A nice Earthblood coming down as well, healing up all these troops, including the Ancient Treeman himself. This is so tight. It looks like the Shadow Warriors are going after the Treeman. I don't know if it's the best pick. Perhaps it is though, and then he can cycle charge everything to death. Maybe that's his thinking here. So Dragon Princes charging towards the Sifril, who do unfortunately turn their backs. They were braced, but unfortunately a nice attack there. Hits them in the rear, does some decent damage. Those guys are able to fall apart, but the tree getting a bit of a slap in the face as he does so. Load of archer fire coming out, but the Shadow Warriors are running out of ammo. And with that, the Wood Elves definitely have a huge chance to stay in this game here. Over on the far side though, Eternal Guard and Glade Guard just been ridden down by Illyrian Reavers. Really nice, consistent play by Chosen One there. Determined, kind of dogged play, trying to get points wherever he can. In the distance, we do have some Spearmen who need to come back down and fight as well. And the High Elves really trying some hit and run tactics here. Looks like he is falling back for the most part, trying to get out of there as quickly as possible. Chosen One saying, well played. He thinks the game is possibly over, perhaps. Who knows? So, Glade Guard are getting some decent shots into the rear of these Spearmen, and the main final engagements are underway. Dragon Princes come crashing into Wildwood Rangers here, but they're just not doing enough damage quick enough to force them off. And that is allowing the Eternal Guard and Wardens of Sifril to get some decent damage, but luckily he's managed to isolate this section over here, really trounce this left-hand flank, which will then maybe give him the number advantage needed here to a secure victory. Looks like, is there any troops left to come back? We have some spearmen over there. Glade Guard getting pitiful amounts of damage, and Shadow Warriors need to get in combat and start bogging down troops where they can. A nice Star of Avalon healing up these Dragon Princes so much here. Although Alariel overextending quite heavily here into these Wildwood Rangers, who will tear apart relatively quickly. Dragon Princes trying their best as well. Eternal Guard doing decent damage overall. Dragon Princes trying to fall back where possible. Shadow Warriors are engaged though, forcing off some Wildwood Rangers. And this Death Blob, is it enough for the Wood Elves? I don't think so. Another nice hill coming on Dragon Prince, and that could seal their fate here as the Wildwood Rangers slowly get dragged down on all fronts. Ancient Tree Man pushing forward as well. Shadow Warriors, unfortunately, are fleeing and getting broken down, with some more Shadow Warriors running into combat over here, hunting down a Glade Guard where they can, and Shadow Warriors aren't the worst melee combatants. They're doing some quite cool attack animations as well, and just helping mop up the troops where possible, but at the same time, Shadow Warriors are starting to break all over the field, and Horses of Sifril so healthy with this Ancient Tree Man in tow. They're going to start cutting down these Dragon Princes relatively effectively. The Dragon Princes, of course, are still very elite troops, and will do a lot of damage back. Wardens a bit of a glass cannon. Shadow Warriors just engaging in Eternal Guard here wherever they can to keep attacking, and he is, of course, chasing down troops on this left-hand flank as well. Nice Earthblood as well, keeping the Dragon Princes active for as long as possible. They're trying their best to charge as much as possible. At the same time, they are slowly getting dragged down. Wildwood Rangers are heavily overextended here. They need to get back. These Dragon Princes are going to simply collapse on these guys now. Fighting the wood, though, will give Wildwood Rangers an advantage. Dragon Princes get a negative in forest. Well, these guys, of course, have Forest Strider, but these guys getting isolated is a huge deal. They start getting dragged down, but Ancient Tree Man needs to come over here and have a little word, have a little kind of, slappy slap with these Dragon Princes there. Bang, comes with a nice club, and the Prince does fall. Some Spearmen are breaking as well. And it looks like these Wild Rangers are holding the line. 114 kills. Shadow Warriors are falling apart as well. But the Wardens, half health now. I don't think they're going to be enough to carry anymore. Really well played by Alaric Roll, though, in a tough matchup. Just some fantastic cycle charging Dragon Princes, so deadly here. You can take Wave Watchers to try and deal with them, but then you're going to get swarmed by cheaper archers and everything. It's really tough here. Dragon Princes roaming wherever they go. Come down and crushing some Eternal Guard who are trying their best here. Lariel so healthy, these guys will fight to the death here. And I don't think it's enough. And a Star of Avalon coming down as well, healing up all these troops. He's got so much value from these Dragon Princes here. In comes Ancient Tree Man trying his best. I don't think it's going to be enough, unfortunately, which is sad because I am more of a Wood Elf fan than I am High Elves. Great healing coming in. Extended Earthblood as well. So look how fast this guy's healing. The health is going up here. Pretty crazy. And the Wardens making a last stand here with the Ancient Tree Man, who, they can do bits, kind of saturated on top of each other, but eventually a correct cycle charging will break them as they are quite squishy. The rest of the Wood Elf forces are fleeing from battlefields in all directions, and the Dragon Prince is winding up for one last charge here. Lariel coming in as well, put on the top of the Ancient Tree Man, who can try and slap her around a little bit, but doing some decent attacks as well, but I don't think Chosen One's going to let her get sniped, although 2 big hits there does batter her quite bad there. Wardens, 51 kills, but they've mainly been going after elite Dragon Princes and so forth all game, and unfortunately been cycle-charged quite a lot. Dragon Princes are all reaching their healing cap though, but the Wardens are wavering hard. Army losses are setting in, and that is going to be game. What a game to end a crazy series there, coming down all the way to a 3-2. Very well played. I really like this build by Alaric Roll. Really left-wing build. I haven't seen a build like that in a very long time. But I quite like the Wild range of this matchup. 120 kills on one. But it was those Dragon Princes, honestly. 105, 129, and 210 kills. So hard to deal with. All he had to deal with them was the Way Watchers. And he managed to sneak in the back with some Illyrian Reavers and shut those guys down, which is a bit unfortunate for them. That was pure madness. Fantastic set of games. I played both of you. And congrats. Completely misspelled, but you know what I mean. You're this week's champion. You have booked place in the finals. Very well played. That was madness. Honestly, that was insane. So I'm still trying to kind of gather my thoughts from that. It's pretty damn crazy. Duckmaster Snickage. Hell yes, Palpatine. Where I'm sleeping tonight, I don't trust that not to be true. Nice, nice. Mutual follow. GG, great series. Damn right, Wicked Deep. That was pretty crazy. And no worries, man. Thank you for tuning in and supporting the channel. Always nice to see you around. We're glad tonight lost to winner, exactly. Also, scoreboard, thank you. We are all winners here. Damn right. Damn right indeed. And Chosen One 3-2. That was insane. So many finals to lose. So much to win. So much to win. So we're going to be trying to do Season 2 finals as soon as possible, as soon as Zeus has some more free time, which will hopefully be next week. And then we'll also have Chosen One in the second final. So Flying Tackle and Chosen One, 2 finals to play in. Thanks for playing, guys. Thanks for the games. I shall be back with all my salt. One of the best of 5s we've had. That was so good. That was a very, very good overall. So guys, I will be here for another couple of minutes if you've got any questions, but if not, I will see you later. So thank you all for tuning in. Should I get Tomb Kings or Coast? The last two disease I don't have. I'm going to say Coast, Michael. I actually got them after Tomb Kings, but I much prefer them. I think their campaign's really good fun as well. It's very thematic. And, I mean, they're pirates. Come on, man. Zombie pirates. What's not to love with giant crabs? Which is always super good. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. If there is no questions, I will peace out. Remember, if you do like what you see and like to support the players and the channel, feel free to like, subscribe as well. We're so close to 200. And if you want to support the channel in any way, I do in fact have a Patreon account you can find just in the description below. You can become like a monthly donator and all that fun stuff. You can do one-off payments as well, but no pressure at the same time. And if you want to get involved with this type of thing in the future, please do join my Discord. It's in the description down below. So until next time, guys, I'll give you a couple of seconds because I know there's a little bit of lag. So if there are any questions, they may be coming. But let's see quickly. Can I upload? Hang on a sec. Gonna find Raptor in chat. I might be able to upload the image for you guys to see. Save image. Cool. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I'll call it Raptor for now. Boop. Then let's go to ABS. Import an image. Let's go to our screenshots. Not screenshots, sorry, pictures. Search for Raptor. No, it's not popping up for some reason. Oh, maybe because I started streaming before I saved the photo. Well, we'll get that up next stream, but there's a really cool image Raptor's friends made, which I'll make sure to have as like a shot blocker or something on the next stream, which will be next week. So anyway, guys, until next times, peace, and see you at some point, hopefully soon. Adios, amigos. Stay